complaining a second ago about me not feeding the data quick enough, but now it seems to have calmed down.
Yeah, it just don't worry about that.
Right.
Now my stream says we might be going live now, which shouldn't be the case, but I think it's the case. I think we're live now.
Okay, we're live right now. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're live right now. There's two ways you can stream on YouTube: live or event. And if you're in the stream now thing, it just automatically starts. But if you're in the event thing, you got to click two buttons.
Then it's a scheduled event, so
yeah.
That's the difference, right? What I'll do real quick is I'll just have a look at your YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're live now on mine, so just
All right,
be aware.
Okay, good. So let me just check this is working. Richard Hart. Let's see. Okay, looking good. Richard Hart live stream. You got me in the corner. Yep. Sweet. Right now, so I'll click this button. That one. And that should now. There we go. Right, cool. We got it. We totally got it.
All right.
We've totally got it.
So everyone, hi. I'm Richard Hart. This is Chris Coney. I met Chris by
Richard.
My
Coney,
bad.
Not like
Coney.
James Comey from the FBI.
I just
Coney
woke
Island.
up. Yeah. So I saw him through a review he did of Bitcoin HEX that I thought was very good. Back when it was called Bitcoin HEX. Now it's just called HEX. There's no more Bitcoin in the name. And I thought it was very well thought out. You know, I've seen reviews from other YouTubers that were no good. At least kind of read the website before you review a project, you know? Like, I've seen people review the project live, like, oh, what is this scam? Let's take a look. Oh, people are stupid, so you seem to be very not stupid. So I figured I'd do an interview with you.
I've got the whole topic of perception to discuss with you.
Let's do it. I'm going to let you be in charge, man.
No, it's very sweet, but I mean, you've already hit on it. I mean, I've been watching you for a while, mate. And actually, when I came to you in the HEX Telegram channel, true or false, you'd never heard of me.
No, never heard of you.
Never heard of me, right? Okay, great. So that was this. This is probably me ego tripping, but I was surprised, right? But
I know good when I see it. Like I know whether someone's smart or not really, really quickly. So it's like
right. But you can tell by the way people talk, can't you?
Yep.
You know, real quick. But the words betray the mind, as I sometimes say.
Yep.
You know?
Agree.
I'll tell you one trap I fall into, Richard, is people that don't get it. I'm almost like putting way too much effort into trying to make them get it. I don't mean just Bitcoin HEX. I mean, if I see the truth of something,
I know what you mean.
I can't reach some people. Just like
it's hard. Yeah, it's hard. Like if you care about never being wrong and always being right, and you have thought something out as well or more than other people, then you feel, I mean, it's like, so our psychologies were designed for smaller groups. So we have a lot of remnants of ancient effective strategies which aren't effective anymore. So revenge is an effective strategy in a small group. If someone does you wrong and you punish them harshly enough, other people will tend to not do you wrong. But in these larger societies that we live in, if you lash out against those that have wronged you, the next guy wrongs you anyway because he doesn't know. So, hunting calories that used to be scarce, like fats and sugars, now we're overweight. Revenge doesn't work. Gossip doesn't work. People fall in love with celebrities on TV as though they're a tribal leader or tribal leader's friend, and it doesn't work anymore. You'll never meet those people. They don't actually act like the way that they're acting on TV in real life. So we've got all of these leftover emotional effective strategies for a world that no longer exists. And wanting to convince strangers of what is right is one of those things that, if you can't sleep well because someone's wrong on the internet, you're never going to sleep well, ever. So it's useful to know the difference between real team and real friend and real people that have utility and a bunch of assholes that you'll never meet. And, you don't want to lose your whole life to save a bunch of people that hate you, kind of thing, I guess.
That's like being clear on your values and what really matters to you, and then prioritizing your time
on
that basis.
Yep. And one of the things I wrote a couple books that I give away for free because they're more outline form and they don't have the narrative glue in them, which is great for smart people because smart people don't need the narrative glue. They just need to be told what to do, and if they like it, they just do it and they get the better results. So if someone says like work out first in the morning so you don't miss any, right? Because things you put at the end of the day you might just not do, but the thing you do the first thing that you wake up, it gets done because there's nothing else in the way, or it's most likely to get done. So, you know, a smart person doesn't have to hear a story about Joe and his plight and how this helped him and all that shit. He can just take the good idea and run with it. Like a lot of the books you read, they really boil down to like maybe 3 or 4 good ideas you could actually use. And what was the rest? What really was the rest?
Well, filler for the publisher, I suppose, to make it a book.
Yeah, and you may enhance the virality for, you know, you feel more comfortable recommending a book that just isn't so transparent. That's like, here's 400 pages. It really just means do these 3 things. So anyway, in the book, I try and get people to focus on things at scale. So if you have a business, like I used to have a retail business, and we did maybe 350,000 a year gross, and maybe my take home on that was like 150 or 175 or something. This is when I just got out of high school. And, you know, once you have maxed out your local area and you're even reaching slightly outside your local area to get customers, well, you're maxed out. So what do you try and do? You try and offer different brands, different services instead of just, you know, retailing the product. You'll also do installation, try and team up with people. You know, like we sold car stereo, so we would try and, you know, the guys across the street would sell rims. Hey, you know, you're all here for car stuff. Look how close we are, right? So to each other, like it's like a mall, right? Oh, you're already here for earrings. Get a necklace too, or whatever, right? But for cars in this case. Then once you've maxed out your local geographic area, you're screwed, because if you want to scale, now you've got to reach out to another geographic area, and it doubles all your costs. So your marginal cost to add a new customer becomes extremely high because you have to get a new manager at a new location and to get a new lease that's multi-year and a bunch of other crap to hopefully make almost as much money as you did in the first place.
Right, because you've saturated that local demand, and then you basically have that whole cost base again to go to a new locality.
Right, and it's more likely to run inefficiently because the founder's not there, and you know, being the founder helps. So, if depending on what kind of founder you are, I guess if you're a hands-on kind of guy, it helps. If you're a talk about fishing all day kind of guy, it probably hurts. So, you know, if you do things at scale instead, you're doing the same work, right? So let's say you're choosing your retail price structure and you're doing like cost plus 40%, cost plus 100%, depending what brand it is. You know, you've already done that work. You already set your pricing. If you do that in a larger market, like on the internet, you still only have to do that work once. You still have the same number of products. You still have the same, you know, or same or similar pricing structure. And so your slogans, your advertising, your logo, all of that work that you do once, it doesn't matter how many people you serve customer-wise. It doesn't matter how wide your market is. It plays across a larger audience. So if you can, so if you're going to do the same work, it's like how much difference is there between putting the work in to make $1 million business and $1 billion business? Fuck all. There's really nothing. There's really no difference. The difference is which industry you chose, right? So like the amount of work it takes to build like a really tiny computer case, it's probably about the same it takes to build a really good website for anything, right? And then it's like, so you want to do the thing that scales. And that's one of the great things about digital currency or writing a book or having a social media presence is that instead of speaking one-on-one and trying to convince someone, fuck that guy. Let him watch the YouTube video with 49,000 other people. Then, you know, you're doing the same work, doing the same convincing, except you're automatically doing it through technology 50,000 times stronger. And then that virally grows, right? So maybe the one guy you had a conversation with will talk to one other guy, maybe. But when you talk to 50,000 people at a time, you know, pick up 100 users a day new just from doing nothing, right? Just because the world's really big and it's got a lot of people in it. And if what you're saying is of value, then it'll spread virally, you know? In this ecosystem, it's a little harder because it's so small. Crypto is very, very tiny. If I did a keyword review channel, I'd have more viewers. But you're unlikely to become a billionaire on keyword reviews. But I'm likely to be a billionaire on crypto. So it's like,
what's a keyword review?
keyboard review. Like,
A
hey,
keyboard.
look,
Like, oh, you mean
we got
music? Oh,
a
those.
we got a zebra print die sub, which means die sublimated, PBT spacebar.
Oh, you mean like a tech
Fancy.
tuber, like reviewing computer parts?
Yeah, because there's millions of people that are interested in it. So
Yeah,
the
millions.
the number of people that are interested in crypto is at least 1,000-fold smaller than the number of people that are interested in consumer electronics.
Yeah, totally get it. Totally get it. Okay, that's great. Can I talk to you about this?
Yeah.
That's been this is the reason I'm not a billionaire yet, is because so far in my business career, I've insisted on going into markets that have real benefit to humanity. So
Right.
if I could sell, I don't know, stuff that destroys people like junk food
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like I've never been able to bring myself to enter those markets, right? So
Yeah, it is, you will make more money being not like, you'll make more money giving people what they want or what they think they want
exactly.
than doing the
That's
harder
exactly.
thing of giving them what they should want and then making them want it. So that was what the iPhone was. So if you would have asked people when the iPhone came out what they wanted, they would have said a better phone with buttons. They would have never, ever said a phone without buttons, ever.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to be given a better thing and then taught to like the better thing. So if you can do that, it's superior. It's just like charity, right? Like there's medical research charities that cure diseases and, might save your life. And then there's poetry charities that just care about people writing poems. And the poetry charities get millions of dollars a year. Now it's like, do I give a single solitary fuck about poetry? Not really. Maybe I should, but maybe I could figure out how to like poetry better with my extra couple of years of survival that I got from medicine, right? And what you learn is like the world works better when everyone tries everything. Like that's what evolution is. So evolution is selection pressure against randomization. That's all it is. And, if you had everyone just care about medical research, the world would suck more.
It would.
So you do need people to want to do everything. Maybe I'd like to see those ratios a little better, like less
I was
F1
going to say
racing.
it's the distribution that's the problem, right?
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents are dead, and I didn't do anything to help them. And my parents will probably die in the not too far future, probably less than 20 years. And then what? I'm going to follow them like 20 or 40 after, maybe 50. That's stupid. Like that's not ideal. Like let's put up a fight, right? Like, the Grim Reaper's coming to kill us, and everyone we love and everyone we know, all of our pets and all of our family. We can fight that shit, and we can do it with the best technology we've ever had as a species ever. And we do cure things, and they stay permanently cured. Hey, let's fight that front, So that's where I want to end up. Like building crypto is amazing, and it's something that scales harder than anything else, and it's the largest market ever, and a bunch of really optimal things there. But it's unlikely to save my life. It's unlikely to extend my health span. It's actually likely due to stress to like shorten my health span. So I want to do it well, and then transition to something more meaningful, which is saving the lives of my loved ones and myself through technology. Because who better to do it than you, right? Like you care about you. Okay, well, get more smart people to work on stuff that might help you. That's it.
I was just going to say, like each of us have our own sort of vision of how we would like the world to be, which is based on our own values. So, and of course, your responsibility is to espouse your values and enroll people in the world that you see. Because I've heard you say this quite a few times. How many of the people that have made fantastic, ridiculous amounts of money are actually reinvesting in their own future? In terms of, like, Mr. Billionaire, what happens one day when you finally get a terminal disease and you didn't invest one single shilling in the medical research that would have saved your life?
Yeah, and you see this all the
like,
time with amongst the smartest, most successful people. I mean, Bill Gates saves a lot of lives in Africa. I don't live in Africa. Or do I? I don't tell anyone. But it's like, I'm unlikely to get malaria. I'm unlikely to get sickle cell anemia. I'm unlikely to get AIDS. So I'd rather see resources spent on things that I am likely to get: heart disease, cancer, right? Those also just happen to be the top 2 killers of human beings at 80%. So if you believe in Pareto efficiency, that's a good place to spend your money. Although I have a tip for you, and that is that if you cured cancer or heart disease, you'd only live 3 years longer on average, because there's symptoms of a decaying system. So if you can do regenerative medicine that reverses the decay of the system, you get benefits in both those places. So if I can get you more than 3 years by diet, exercise, metformin, you name it, it's better than curing cancer. I don't think most people know those numbers. Well, I know they don't because I quizzed them.
You're talking about a more systemic solution than just a remedial disease cure.
Yeah, because if you cure cancer, you just get the next thing. And if you cure heart disease, you just get the next thing. So if you don't want that next thing to just kill you, you have to get rid of the things that are causing the next things, right? So there's only 7 reasons why you age. You have junk inside your cells or outside your cells. So inside your cells will be the buildup of lipofuscin, which your lysosome can't break down, usually because it has 7-ketoglycerol in it, which your lysosome doesn't have an enzyme to break down, but other animals do. So you could transgenically integrate the ability to generate that enzyme into your lysosome through using, CRISPR and gene editing, stuff like that. You've got junk outside your cell, like the arteriosclerotic plaque on the insides of your arteries, which eventually clog up and kill you, give you a heart attack. You've got too many cells and too few cells. Too many cells would be cancer. Too few cells would be, your brain cells die, they don't come back. Your hearing cells die, they don't come back. Then you've got mutations in your mitochondrial DNA and in your nuclear DNA. A lot of people don't know this, but you actually have 2 sets of DNA in your body, and only one of them usually comes from both your parents. Your mitochondrial DNA usually comes from just your mother. So there's actually a mitochondrial Eve, some number of hundreds of thousands of generations back, that was the single female human being that was the parent to all of us, which is kind of neat. Apparently we were down to like 600 people during the Ice Age, which is, interesting to see that we really almost did what 99.9% of all other creatures have done, and that has become permanently extinct. Which is another interesting point, because if you're focused on, climate change, you also have to think, well, actually, we are going to get hit by an asteroid, and it will kill everything on this planet. So
at some point in time,
yeah. So the human beings have to redirect those things before they hit us. We're not even really doing a good job looking for them right now. So I'd be willing to make some sacrifices to the health of the planet now if there were reliable payoffs 10 or 20 years from now that would allow us to catch and move. It's the study of existential threatening events, X events they're called, is interesting. It's more interesting than, say, interplanetary redundancy with like trying to fly to Mars, which is what Elon wants to do. Elon studies AI, which is an existential threat, high risk, high reward, and he also studies getting to space, which helps maybe some people survive that aren't me on a planet I don't live on. I would rather put all my eggs in one basket and watch that basket carefully than reduce my resources here, send half my family to another planet, and then if, hey, we all get destroyed here, maybe they survive. Well, fuck that. Like, I don't want to get opted out of the game, right? So I'm not really happy with how Elon or Gates is spending their philanthropy money. But if your option is for them to spend it that way or not be philanthropic at all, it's better that they do that, right?
Sure. So the question is, how do we reconcile all of these conflicting incentives and all the different desires of human beings? Because you've got this value system, like the value of Bill Gates spending money on malaria, and you said Pareto distribution, statistically you're more likely to die from cancer or heart disease, so you'd much rather him spend his money on those kinds of things. And it's a very meta way of looking at it, because you look at, okay, so you're valuing, or people would say to you, oh, well, Richard, what about all the people that are now going to die from malaria because you redirected the flow of those funds, right?
Well, there's a study that addresses this question. It's called effective altruism, and I could just derive. So all progress is basically made in analogy. So if I want you to understand a new idea, I find out an idea you already understand, and I speak to you in those terms.
Oh yeah.
So do you leave your front door unlocked? Do you give people that aren't your kin as much money as you give people that are your kin?
No.
If you care about your kin more than you care about random people, and that's how you spend your money, almost every family spends its money. That's the concept of family. The concept of family is these people matter more than everyone else.
Right. Got it.
So as long as people believe in family, and as long as people have immigration policies, which mean fuck off 100%. You can't live here unless you married someone that lives here already. We want to work you, or you're going to school here. That's it. Otherwise, you can entirely fuck off. That's the immigration policy of every country in the world. So since we already,
again, I like this. You got to marry somebody.
yeah,
You got to be at school, or
yeah.
you got to. What was it?
You hit our job targets. Like like in Australia, you have a point system where they assign points to different skill sets that aren't well represented, right? And then, you need more nurses this year. They get higher points. They're more likely to get in. But if you're not a nurse, you ain't more likely to get in, right? If you're a job that's already, filled up and doesn't have high demand, you're less likely to get in. It's a meritocracy. It's pretty smart. Totally. Yeah, I believe in meritocracies. So, that's evolution. Evolution is selection pressure plus randomization. Your point system is selection pressure. So, I could tell someone very easily, well, look, you care about yourself more than others, and you care about your family more than random people. So why don't you just have your altruism affect it's very obvious what you really care about. You just look at how your wallet is, right? If you want to know what people really care about, you look at how to spend their money.
I agree. So totally agree. I always say that. It's, look at people's spending patterns. That's basically them expressing themselves, and they can't deny it. How you spend your time and how you spend your money. You can't lie to me about what your values are, because it's right there in your actions and behaviors.
Agree.
And some people don't even realize that. They don't realize who they are. So when you point that out, they go, oh my God, I didn't realize I was that. I didn't realize I was spending 40% of my income on alcohol or whatever.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's true. I mean, self-awareness is not where people start. It takes a long time for people to figure out that there's a world that influences them and that they influence, and that there's a cycle of iterating back and forth, right? You care about you change what you care about. You hang out with different people. You get different job opportunities. You hang out with different people. You get married to different people. Like it's good to make small adjustments in the beginning, because as you change your angle in the beginning, the longer you continue down the path, the wider and wider you went from where you would have otherwise been. So assuming linear line for the example.
So you're saying the earlier you get, you're enrolled in the idea of self-awareness, the more compounding that effect can be.
I wouldn't say that self-awareness is that important. What is important is correct action. And if you're a lot of losers are self-aware, and they're okay with losing, right? So a lot of people, look, people do, there's monks that spend all their time on the journey inward, not helping anyone else, not building science, not building technology, not building infrastructure. And so you take the people that are the best at the journey inward, which you could say would be Tibetan monks, and then their neighbors, China, who aren't into that shit, just crush them. Because why not? They're just sitting there wearing a fucking robe, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, we're just going to take your girls and your stuff and your land, and you can just keep sitting there doing la, 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 right? So there's a lot of people that choose to be losers and absolutely love it. Now, there's a bunch of Tibetan monks somewhere going, one day that Richard will stop calling us a loser, maybe. He seems like a nice fellow.
Hold up. Did you just put the Tibetan monks in the category of loser?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Because they do not make the world a better place by being here. What exactly is better since Tibetan monks have been around? Maybe you could learn a little bit about adjusting your internal body temperature through conscious thought, as though your body temperature were really something you needed to optimize. Maybe you could learn some strategies for stress management. Maybe. All right, well, we got this. Are we planning on getting anything else out of these guys over the next 100 years? Nope. They're just, if their teeth are fucked up, boy, they hope dentists somewhere fixed it and figured it out, because they're not working on dentistry, right? And they get heart attacks, well, I hope someone else fixes it, because they're not working on that shit, right? There are people that waste their lives. I wasted 10 years of my life playing video games.
Yeah, I've heard you say that.
And you know how many people are doing that right now? Everybody. There's more money in video games than movies. Movies have an end. Video game, they can keep you grinding, doing the same thing over and over and over again, like a monkey. Worse than a monkey. Monkey would get bored of that shit.
When I ask you questions, it's not because I'm dumb, right? So it's because it's a genuine objective question. So what's wasteful about playing computer games? And I'm not defending computer games.
Well,
As
they're different.
I,
Not all games are the same. If a computer game has an end and it's a better narrative experience, then it's superior, right? If you can participate in a story instead of just reading it, that is better. So certain games can be better than books or film. There are other types of games that do not have an end, and they do not have a good narrative arc, and they abuse your dopamine hit for quick,
quick rewards.
exactly,
Got
and
it.
even intermittent reward. And they have psychologists that tune the music to the note of C, like a slot machine, and a lot of sexual imagery. They get your peer group stuff in there, so you're a member of a clan. So now your clan has a thing that you have to do every week, or else you let your buddies down. So they work every psychological angle to fucking take all of your consciousness away and delete you as a human being, and make you a slave to their engagement metrics, where they make more money the more hours you spend looking at their app. So you're going to spend all of the hours of your life looking at that instead of doing anything that really matters, anything at all. Being a real human being, thinking your own thoughts instead of grinding out some gems and some gold to buy a night to drop on somebody else's town, to make them need to buy more gems and gold because theirs just got stolen. So it's terrible. It's what you do to an enemy army to demoralize them and ruin them and to confuse them and make them less effective. You'd make very good video games and send them into the enemy ranks and watch them all fall apart. So I mean, I love games so much that they were an addiction problem, but I know how bad they suck.
How'd you break out?
Well, you interrupt the old pattern, which gives you a window. Then you got to throw a new behavior in there that meets the same needs, even the hidden ones, at the same level or higher, right? So is it engaging? Can you feel like you won? You do it whenever you want. Depends on what needs were getting hit. And then you just keep doing that thing until it sticks. So you interrupt the old pattern, jump through the window, start doing the new pattern, and then reward it till it sticks. And then the easier you can make it to not relapse by changing your passwords, breaking the CDs, uninstalling it. So if you've got a multi-gigabyte game that takes a couple hours to download, break all the CDs and securely delete it, and then you've got at least another couple hours of not doing that while you wait for it to download again.
To going back.
Yeah, it's you got to make up for your own weakness, So if you're an alcoholic and you got just alcohol all around you, well, now you don't have to go to the store, right? And so at some point you could make it where it's impossible to relapse. You just live someplace where there's no electricity. Go play a video game now, buddy. You're gonna have to invent electricity and then invent computing, and so you can cheat and use less willpower in the midterm by using more willpower up front, by just breaking everything and burning the boats and such. It's better if you can just reprogram the meanings and not have to do all that stuff, but fuck better. Just do what works, right? So cold turkey works. All right, we're doing cold turkey.
But okay, your willpower only goes so far because it's going to run out eventually.
Usually, yeah.
Totally.
But once you build a habit, the willpower is pointed the other direction. It's I want to lift weights. I want to lift weights every day, but my arm hurts because I've got golfer's elbow from lifting too much. So I just lifted again for the first time yesterday. I got some forearm wraps and fucking arm hurt again. I'm I guess I'm going to have to wait some more. So I'd lifted for long enough to switch the tendency to really want to lift. Whereas in the past, if you are used to not lifting, you don't want to lift. And so if you could do something for 90 days, it tends to become a lifestyle. And then you don't have to use willpower at all.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Don't need it anymore because it's just it's
a habit that you built. People are creatures of habit.
Yeah. And you just hit on something which is, I just wrote down, the ultimate scarcity of human attention. You're talking about collecting people's consciousness inside of a massive multiplayer online game, which has no ending.
Yeah, there's studies on it. They call it the conscious economy, and
the conscious economy.
Yeah, and they know about this. There's only 3 or 4 apps you're going to spend all your time on your phone, and if you are one of those 3 or 4 apps, you get billions of dollar unicorn status, and if you're not one of those 3 or 4 apps, you don't get to be a $1 billion unicorn. So it's and then Facebook just keeps hacking the game because they buy everyone that could replace them. So there's usually an S curve. A new thing comes along, gets adopted, and everyone does it, and then something better comes along, new S. So maybe WhatsApp could have replaced Facebook, so there's bottom. Maybe Instagram could have replaced Facebook, so there's bottom. And they just keep buying. I think Flickr is owned by Instagram too, or no?
How do you
No, it's
seduce
not.
someone
It's
away
owned by
though?
Yahoo. Different.
Because if someone's playing a massive multiplayer or role-playing online game,
Mm-hmm.
if they're doing their evil job properly and fulfilling all of your needs,
Yeah.
dopamine needs and so on,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be real hard to incentivize someone out of that system into a new S curve.
People do tend to get bored of digital games. They haven't found a way to make the next game not as compelling. But people do stay
to make the next game.
Sure. So in your model, you're comparing the digital world to the analog world. And what I'm saying is if you add another player in that game, which is a second digital world, people tend to migrate from the first thing to the second thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people used to play Team Fortress 2, and then they used to play Quake, and then they played Team Fortress 2, and then they play DayZ, and now they play Fortnite, and now they play Apex. Okay. Well, why do they keep changing? Because we care about the new thing, right? It's like porn. We made enough porn. Nope. Why? New girl is better. Oh, well then. And that's what we're programmed to do. We're programmed to hunt out and experiment and be curious. And so a new world that you haven't explored is always going to be more engaging than a world that you have, which is why we keep playing new games. So you'll always have a rotating new addictive environment. It won't always be analog versus digital. It's analog versus the first and second and third and fourth iterations of digital interesting things.
Mm-hmm. That's part of that evolutionary process that's underpinning it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, as long as games are one of the most profitable, like there's 5 or 6 companies that make $1 billion a year net on video games. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of money.
There's still something underneath though, because you called it the conscious economy. So why is it then that so many people, human beings, are choosing to use their conscious attention for what I would argue is something that doesn't really improve the world that we live in?
Well, it doesn't improve the world, but how much does the world improving really make you feel better? It's like some rich guy gets a bigger yacht, his world's improved. People that sold it to him made money, people that built it had nice jobs. Well, what did it do for you? Fuck all, right? Hey, they cured malaria. Okay, well, that's great. I don't know anyone that's got malaria. Don't know anyone that's ever died from it. Apparently, it's millions and millions of people. Sure, it sounds nice to fix it, but am I really going to feel it? Like, how long exactly would that malaria cure spice up my life? One night? What a great day. We cured an awesome disease. Like, this shit wears off, right?
Okay.
But if your clan needs you to raid tonight, well, that matters now, right? Like, human beings are optimizing for what's convenient and what feels good. And
to them personally, right?
Yeah, and personal improvement in the short term usually does not feel good, right? Mm-hmm. Working out hurts. If you're doing it right, it's at least discomfortable. So unless you have learned to enjoy discomfort, that's the reason most people don't work out. And that's the reason most people don't, they read fiction instead of nonfiction. Fiction makes you smarter. Nonfiction, I guess, is more fun. So there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I mean, look, I don't need to change how the humans are wired. I'm fine with marketing the way it is, right? Like, here's the human, here's how it works. All right, let's work around that. I don't have to try and reprogram I don't need to change the language that the program is running. Like, the human runs this program, okay, we would just work with that. I don't need to try and rewrite their operating system. I've already figured out what they like and stuff, so I'm good with it the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can marketing works, right? If you market healthier behaviors, people will do them. If you market more successful paths, people will take them. So we're not that bad. Human beings are still pretty good.
But a product of conditioning, right? So if our marketing and advertising tells people how to behave, basically, like the cult of celebrity or the cult of nihilism or whatever imagery and music videos is telling us, giving us a model of reality, that then we follow that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like you say, if we switched it to what I would call a conscious marketing model, where it would be frowned upon to eat junk food and it would be celebrated to eat healthy food, if that whole would change the entire face of humanity,
Yeah. Yep. Agree.
And that's back to what I was saying earlier on, is that's me. I've never as a marketeer, that's what's been difficult for me, is that at the moment, I guess we're into Pareto distribution, the stuff that's going to evolve humanity in a positive direction is still on the 20% side of the Pareto distribution.
Yeah.
So automatically, if I want to promote a meditation product or something like that that's going to raise people's conscious awareness, I'm automatically at a 4-time disadvantage versus peddling something like pornography or something that's destructive but has a massive market. And my conscious
I like pornography personally. I think it's fabulous.
Like pornography?
Yeah, it's great.
Fabulous. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you look, man, there's some experiences in your life you are not going to get to have. So if you want to see what that looks like, that's your only option.
Good.
It's like, let me know when you have your next 30-way. It's not going to happen, right? Like,
well, you've already decided that's not a possibility.
Well, I mean, it's a possibility, but to get 30 high-quality people that want to bang you at once, that's an industrial effort. And I'm not sure you're cut out to actually do your part there. You might discover that it's actually a hard job.
Yeah. It doesn't really work with the.
Yeah. So like to say that pornography is bad would be to say that imagining is bad. It's just like assisted imagination. So I don't think imagination's bad, and I don't think stories are bad. And so what is pornography? It's a story about having sex, and sex is cool. So it's, I don't know how it gets such a bad rap. It's just people doing something fun on video. People like all the other videos of people doing stuff they enjoy, cooking, skiing. Okay, so why is the sex one so bad? It's not,
Well, it's because it's the same thing we just spoke about, which is it's a type of marketing, right? It's giving people a model for, like, that they're going to want to go and act out in the world.
It doesn't work like that, because then crime novels would increase crime, right? And they don't. And like if people did the things that they acted out in games, the school shootings would be infinitely higher, because everyone's going home and killing hundreds, if not thousands, of computer creatures a night, every night. And the world is the least violent it has ever been, statistically. So if you're just looking at correlation, video games apparently make the world safer. So this, I've done a lot of interesting shit in video games that I've not done in real life. And you're not, they're just, if you were practicing to do the thing in real life, then I think you would see more of it. But there is no similarity between hitting A and B on a plastic controller and actually killing people. They have nothing in common. People think they have something in common, but in reality they don't. If someone got you really mad, you're like, they don't die, right?
Right. You're able to express it in a digital realm. You got it.
Well, you're really just hitting buttons with your thumb. So, I mean, that's what you're really practicing, is button pressing. So you are better at button pressing, and you may even do it, like, when you want something to change. You might, like, try and click next, but it won't work.
Well, technically, I mean, in terms of reality, you are just using your thumb muscles to press buttons.
Yeah.
But that's not the way the gamer experiences it.
No, but it's what you're physically being trained. So it's like, do you get stronger lifting weights in a video game? No. Are you more likely to lift weights in the real world? No, you're not. It's just like bowling alleys. Did Wii bowling get popular? Yes. Did real bowling get popular? No. Well, This stuff's been studied, and it's just there's no correlation at all between violent video games and violent behavior, or porn and violent behavior. Some people like to think that there is to excuse their actions, like Ted Bundy, when his death tapes, before he was executed, he was talking about, oh well, I would have turned out fine if it wasn't for that porn. Yeah, sure you would, man. And he chose it, the porn. Other people choose it as the parents. Other people choose it as whatever, right? They don't want to take responsibility for their own actions.
So, tell me again, what was your problem with video games?
Well, they suck away all your consciousness. You have two things that you can be. You can be a copy of someone else's thoughts, or you can be your own thoughts. You can say your own words, or you can repeat someone else's words. And if you're always absorbing someone else's narrative, there is no you. You're not there.
Totally.
There's just someone else. It's just like when you argue with people. If you're the person starting an argument, you're creating inverted copies of yourself in everyone that you argue with. And they're forced to be opposite of whatever you say because they just want to win to seem significant. And they find it harder to become significant by adding to an idea instead of combating it. So whatever idea you have, they're going to tell you why it doesn't work. And whatever idea you have, they're going to tell you what you should have done better. But
what's their goal? To be right?
Well, to appear more important, right? So if your option is to shit talk or notice an exception, those things are easy. Everyone's a critic. Everyone can see an exception. But if your idea is to add to, that's harder. Adding to someone's idea is harder than finding the exception.
Sure.
Right?
Bit of creativity. Yeah.
Yeah. And
You
so
have to tap your imagination.
Yeah, well, in the book, one of the first thing I put at the end is don't be slave to the devil's advocate. Don't be the devil's advocate. Let someone else waste their life being the opposite of someone else's idea. You be the guy that generates the idea, and let other people invert and have their lives dictated by your narrative, and be the first mover. So, whoever sets the frame is the guy that controls the conversation. And people look at it as though it's equal, but it's not. The guy that set the frame is super, super, super important. So, how many hours get spent on the internet talking about something somebody else got wrong instead of trying to build on what somebody else got right?
Right.
It's a lot because it's easier, So it's called bike shedding, basically. There was this commission on building a nuclear power plant. And what they discovered was that if you talk about really hard stuff, of which building a nuclear power plant consists a lot of, people won't comment and they don't have much to say. But if you talk about something simpler, like what color should the bike shed be, million comments. Everyone's got an opinion on what color that bike shed should be. And so it's funny, if you look at my engagement metrics on my Twitter, if I say, hey guys, what should the inflation rate in the currency be? Crickets. No one knows shit, right? No thoughts whatsoever. But if I say, hey guys, what do you think about the color on this logo? Hundreds of comments. Right?
That's the bike shed right there.
Yeah, it's literally the bike shed. Right?
That's quality.
So I keep doing it because, one, you really kind of need peer review to make sure that your logo is as good as you think it is, because your taste might be fucked up. And no matter how good your taste is, it just might be fucked up once, and you don't want it to be fucked up on your logo.
Yeah.
So, it is one of the places where the thoughts of the public in general are very useful. A/B testing and issues of aesthetic are very useful. But with other more technical things, they don't matter. Right? Say again?
In marketing, that's critical.
Yeah, it's winning or losing the game. I mean, do you want it matters. So, yeah, so the end game for me is I don't want to die of old age. I want to die by accident at around 600 if that's possible, which is statistically how it will work out if you cure aging. But obviously, I'm not willing to diet too hard for it, so I need technology more than most. So I need the technology, and
that's interesting.
Yeah, and
you almost want to turn death into a choice.
Yeah,
that
pretty
would
much.
be the way I would phrase it.
Why not?
You know what I mean? Some people might choose 600. I'm done. Right?
You can opt out whenever you want. It's
Right.
easy to die. Dying is really easy. 3 minutes without oxygen, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Any of those will do it. And there's all types of other easy ways to be, you know, erased from the gene pool. It's like, the thing is, this is something that I understand at the intellectual level, but like at the emotional level, I don't care as much as I should. Intellectually, I know it's optimal play. Emotionally, I'd rather play video games. Feels better, right? I'd rather read about I'd rather read about electronics and fast cars and guns. I'd rather read about that and watch videos about that than work on medical research. So if you look at my YouTube suggestions, ain't no suggestions for no medical research on there. A lot of suggestions for guns and cars. So emotionally, I'm wired for the old world. Intellectually, I know what I should care about, right? So it's...
But the reality is that you don't.
Well, I mean, I did write a couple books, you know, called Sci-Vive, How You Can Survive Through Science, that are built to create a movement to get people to care about these things. So I've gone a lot farther than many, and that's through harsh willpower force. I forced myself to make that progress.
Well, that sounds like you're fighting against another part of yourself, though.
I am. We all are. You have multiple conflicting desires.
Sure.
And you only have one amount of time. And it's the only thing we all have the same. We all have the same time. We have different opportunity. We have different skill. We all have the same time. So I've been able to do very well to force myself to do things that short term don't feel great, but midterm and long term are awesome. Like,
I totally get it. Totally get it. My strategy, if you like, for this has been primarily through meditation. Is what shall I use? Dissolving one by one all of the stuff that's pushing back against the direction I want to go in, because then those parts, like the I, the real I, the me, wants to go this way, but conditioning stuff that I've learned from the world and my intellect is like pushing back, right? So my goal has not been to power up the motor anymore or add turbos or anything like that. I've done it from the other end. Literally, it was just over years and years and years, I've dissolved the resistance coming back at me. And
seems viable, sure.
It works. I mean, I'm telling you, from my experience, it actually works.
Yeah.
And the effort level's the same. It's just a case of I'm almost like dialing down gravity bit by bit by bit.
Yeah, there's other things that work, like having a better peer group or having a better why instead of how, or meditation work. Like there's a lot of shit that works. Getting a coach, like all those things work. So yep, is if you spend effort changing what you want by adding to the greed or subtracting from the fear, both works, you know. And you know, not everyone operates from just greed and fear. So everyone has a different value profile. So if you listen to how Tony Robbins likes to put it, his way isn't the best way. I like my way better, but I'll tell you his. His is that you've got 4 needs of the personality. They are certainty and variety, which are paradoxes. You want to eat different food all the time, but you really prefer that the ceiling stay up there. And if the ceiling starts falling down around you, you're not going to be comfortable speaking anymore. So you need certainty and you need variety. You also need significance and connection, and those are also a paradox. If you come into a room and you tell everyone how much more money you got than them and how much smarter you are than them, and I get this a lot, they remove connection and they hate you, right?
Right.
But only at a distance. As soon as they think they can work with you, they fucking love you. It's a strategy. They treat you worse at a distance in the hopes that you'll treat them better. And then if they feel like they can work with you, they will make great sacrifices to do so, right? So growth, certainty, and variety fight each other. Connection and significance fight each other. And then these last 2, which he calls the needs of the soul, are growth and contribution. And they don't really fight anything else. And they don't fight each other. And the more time you spend there, the more fulfilled you'll be. I don't think it's 100% accurate, but even though it's not accurate, it seems like a really good belief system to have to get progress, right?
Well, those final 2, they are actually arise from the tension between the other 2 pairs. So if you can get certainty, like internal certainty, and that gives you the power to embrace uncertainties, that's where growth comes from. That's what he
Agree.
says, right? And then he says,
Well,
if
the
you
more
get
comfortable you are with discomfort, the more progress you can make.
right, and similarly, if you get significance from connection, that's what was the other spiritual need?
Uh, Connection, significance,
Contribution,
and
was it?
certainty, variety. The soul ones were growth and contribution. They
Contribution,
feel a
that's it.
little bit cheating because if you're in the business of selling growth, then, stick that one way high up there,
It's got an incentive to do that, right?
Yeah.
Is it? I just so happen to have a product or service for that.
Yeah, right.
Well,
Now,
he's not going to say anything otherwise, is he? He's not got an incentive to.
well, I think that if you want to learn success, you might as well learn it from the guy that was the most successful teaching success. So like who made the most money, who influenced the most people, who's had his brand for multiple decades and has had almost no blowback. Like, oh, this guy did that terrible thing.
Oh, gotcha.
Almost none
I
of
was
that.
going to say that just means he's the best at marketing it, but he has to actually deliver for the reason you say, which
Yeah.
is he hasn't got massive complaints and refunds and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. So the
Yeah.
stuff works, and it's some of the best live events you could ever attend. Like if you go to Date with Destiny, I think it's $3,000 to go, and it's the best live event you'll ever go to, pretty much. And it's 80 to 90% right, and that's way more than you'll get out of other stuff. So
Sure.
so but I think there's more resolution in there. I mean, so the point is that not everyone has the same value system. Some people value adventure more than safety, which is why you have skydivers.
Yep.
Some people value safety over adventure, which is why you have hermits, which is a person that just lives far away from everyone else and doesn't really want to interact with anyone else. Well, how much adventure is that guy having? Well, fuck all. It's the same stuff every day for that guy, unless a bear comes, right? So you can change what your value system is if you fight to do so. It's not easy, but it's doable. So if you decide that you have to have a different value system to get where you want to go, you can make that happen. It just takes effort and time, right? So you decide, I need to be more comfortable with uncertainty. So I'm going to do this thing, and I'm going to get this peer group, and I'm going to focus on this is why I'm doing it. And if you do it for a while, that's your behavior, right? Like I can go into a nightclub and meet fun people and have the time of my life. It wasn't always that way. It was a trained behavior. I was always fun and amazing with dudes, but I wasn't fun and amazing with girls. Then I learned how to do that, and I'm great at it, and now it's part of my lifestyle. So you become what you practice, that concept of like fake it till you make it, it's kind of real. Like if whatever you do often enough, that just becomes you. It's like like apparently Andrew Dice Clay, like he just is that guy now, right? Because it prefers to be that way, So they're all you. They're all just different styles of being, right?
Right, and that can change every moment. Like that's why I always say who you're being is how you're acting. So
Exactly.
I can act like an ass in 1 second, and I am the ass in that moment.
Yep.
But I have the freedom to switch that identity in the next second to be kind or whatever. Right.
You
But
are not your behavior. You are not your
but
behavior.
the key, and the reason why I'm such an advocate of meditation is it creates that flexibility.
Yep.
And for me, the only problem is if any of us get fixed into a particular way of being and have no choice to be anything else.
Yeah.
That's
what I try and do with people when I'm trying to get them in a bad state. It's just these techniques you can use. You can use a compulsion blowout where you're trying to get them to do the bad state harder until it seems obvious how stupid it was. Like, oh, you're right, that was real stupid, right?
Right. Sure.
Or you could do like anchoring and collapse the anchors against each other, which is interesting. Or you could change their physiology, their focus, and their language, their triad, and you can get results that way. And actors do this with lion face, lemon face. They practice being really, high energy and really like low energy. And as you rotate through those cycles, it makes you more fluid with your behavior. So that if you want to be angry, you can be angry. And if you want to instantly stop being angry and be happy, you can do that. It doesn't take you as much time to switch between them. So the same skill sets that make you a better actor give you more emotional control over your life, and that's the quality of your life. The quality of your life is the quality of the emotions in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So, I agree completely with what you're saying about building that flexibility to be able to do superior patterns of behavior by learning how to break out of shitty ones. By just showing, hey, look how easy I can break out of this if I want to. Right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
And so, like, once you realize that when you're in a bad mood, you're choosing to do that, and you could just do a different thing,
mm-hmm.
it's interesting. You're like,
but that choice, in my mind, comes from your level of awareness, because anything that's beyond your conscious awareness isn't a choice. It's running you.
Nah. So, I mean, all skill is unconscious skill. Driving a stick shift is unconscious skill. Dancing is unconscious skill. If it looks like you're trying hard to dance, it doesn't look good. So, our subconscious is better at doing most things than we are consciously.
Oh, yeah.
That's why robots suck so bad. They go to grab a cup, mush the cup. Because unconsciously, grabbing a cup's actually extremely complex. Mm-hmm. Extremely complex. So complex robots can't do it up until the last, couple years. There you go. Yeah. And so conscious awareness is not actually that powerful. Having conscious awareness to develop practice to become unconsciously competent, that's powerful. So knowing you could be happy if you wanted to be, useless. Practicing being happy from states where you're unhappy, 100% useful.
Got it.
So if your prerequisite to developing unconscious competence is conscious awareness, then for you, it's very important. But you'll find there's tons and tons and tons of people that are extremely effective that have no fucking idea how they got there, and they can't teach it to you, right? Like guys that are naturals with girls. Ask them what they're doing. I'm just myself.
Unconscious competence.
Sure, you're just yourself, but I saw you do this and this and this and this and fucking that. Oh, I didn't even know I did that. You didn't, like.
But that's Tony Robbins talks about. That's like in its NL strategies in NLP. Whereas if you can take a successful behavior from someone else, elicit that behavior, code it, and then teach it to someone else, they can literally, in their mind, run the same strategy and get the same behavior and the same results.
Yeah, his saying is put the cook in the kitchen and look at the times and the quantities, and you get something similar.
But some people show up with these natural ways of being, and then you can elicit them and then transfer those ways of being to other people. So you've got this big catalog of any way you could want to be in all of the code, right? All the algorithms for how to do that, if you so choose.
Yeah, well, it's just how apparently NLP was derived, because Richard Bandler and John Grinder went and studied the most effective therapists and psychologists, and we're just like, oh, here's what's really going on, And I don't think NLP is that useful, but there are. So, for instance, when you're talking about using meditation to make things just sucked smaller, that's like what you would do in NLP with submodalities, making things fuzzier, farther away, suck the saturation out of them, which makes you feel different about ideas. Right?
I get that, but I'm going to link it back, because one thing I've noticed with people is running them through, say, submodality shifts, right? So you're guiding someone through the process, right? People who have a low level of awareness, they don't have a sufficient mental power to make the shifts in the submodalities, or they don't have the range of conscious awareness to even detect there's a picture in their head. They go, there is no picture. They go, yeah, there is, but it's outside their conscious range though. When they look inside their own mind, they can't even see it.
Well, you just have to make them think there is one, and then it would work similarly. If people think that they're supposed to feel differently, they tend to, right? Oh, that exercise we did makes me supposed to feel different about that. Oh yeah, I feel different about that now.
Placebo-wise.
And then they do. Yeah, placebo actually works. Don't shit talk placebo. It's the best medicine we got. Fucking cures everything for free. Like placebo is really great stuff. Which is another funny thing, because actually, like Richard Bandler says, I tried to make a product called Placebo that was just a placebo pill and actually sell it, which I thought was funny. It's taking advice from Richard Bandler is funny, because he's a fat guy that smokes, terrible fashion sense, but apparently knows how to. Also. Yeah, but apparently he knows how to get anything he wants. But
which baffles me, mate. That totally baffles me. I'm glad you pointed that out, because it absolutely baffles me.
It's weird that you know so much about personal development. I didn't know that you knew that shit. I thought this would just, like I titled this this talk just HEX. We haven't talked about HEX at all. We've just talked about personal development for now,
And some
which I'm
people in
fine
chat
with. I'll talk about fucking anything. I like
Yeah,
it.
I know. Absolutely. That's why I wanted to talk to you. I mean, to be honest, this interview was partially a pretense for me to get to have a conversation with you. I mean, we're gonna get onto HEX, right? But
Hey, whatever. Like, to tell you the truth, the reason we've only got like 400 people watching right now is because my audience is, they know everything already. They're like, another HEX video. Fuck that.
well, some
You
people
know.
in my chat are a little bit confused as to what the hell we're talking about and what's this got to do with Bitcoin HEX? But he's
Well,
got
tell them that the only reason you give a fuck about crypto is because you want to be rich. And the only reason you want to be rich is because you want to be wealthy. And the only way you're truly going to be wealthy is to have control over your mind and to appreciate the things that you have. And so we're teaching you how to use your mind better and how to appreciate things so that when we give you that money, it matters to you.
well, I would say money, financial freedom, that's control over your body. Because if
Can
you
be.
don't have money, you have to go work for someone else, or
Yep.
you have to get up in the morning where you won't survive. And financial freedom to me is that's the ownership over your time and your body. You can do what you want with your body and your own time.
Yeah.
But then you need the control over your mind. Otherwise, that will tell you to do stuff with your body you don't want to do.
Agree.
Right?
Agree.
So that's what I'm about. So, I mean, seldom, because I've watched enough of your stuff and I'm like, wow, that guy is really multidimensional. And back to perception, right? People will hear two sentences out of your mouth and they'll pigeonhole you and me.
Yeah.
They'll go,
Yep.
I've got him pegged. He's a scammer, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
And that's why I went medieval on my Bitcoin HEX videos, because I'm like, I was so frustrated at people just interacting with what I call a cardboard cutout of you,
Yep.
which isn't the real you at all, right? And I could see that and even spoken to you, but I knew you were way deeper than they were giving you credit for.
I don't think you can go deeper. I've done all the stuff.
Totally. And
Yeah.
I've listened to you enough. That's my preparation. I didn't really write a ton of questions because I wanted to have a real conversation with you and connect with you like man to man. And I
pretty
thought,
neat.
I know. Go on.
I like it when you can talk to somebody that nothing I have mentioned has been remotely outside your range of, you're right there. You know all the same stuff that I'm talking about. So it's great.
And we have sometimes we have slight different points of view. If I'm like,
Well, sure. Like we have slightly, like, meditation we differ on,
Right,
and
sure.
porn we differ on, but everything else seems about the same.
we're pretty much in alignment, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going for. I'm going for, I would call it the truth. I'm not talking about religious truth. I'm talking about like being profoundly related to reality. I mean, reality, not this reality, reality as is. And I'm trying to get at that. Again, why I'm a big fan of meditation is because I want to delete all of the perceptual filters that are a reality in between me and reality.
You've
The
got
actual
good.
reality.
There's a lot of people that also are big proponents of meditation.
Mhm.
So Ray Dalio,
Sure.
one of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
most successful hedge fund managers ever, multi-billionaire. Sam Harris,
Totally.
like, there's a lot of people, and I can see how my life would be better with some in there. So
Well, if you like technology, mate, you should use, beg your pardon, I'll take that back. If you like technology, I want to share with you, I use this thing called Holosync audio technology. It's a brainwave entrainment technology that you use stereo headphones and it plays a different frequency tone in each ear. And they'll give you the science behind this, but the goal is so that each of your hemispheres hears a different tone, which it can't reconcile on its own. And it causes the brain hemispheres to communicate and to try and reconcile the difference between the frequencies. That actually creates a third frequency in the middle that you hear that isn't really there. Now, in this process of the two hemispheres cooperating is what creates, it flattens out brain lateralization, because most of us are lopsided. We're either two right brain or two left brain. And people say I'm right brain person, left brain person. No, everyone has two hemispheres, right? And if you can get them to
Almost.
cooperate,
there's a guy that had a pole through his head that still
guy,
functioned
right, exactly.
fine.
Some people
Yeah,
born with half a brain, but
that guy.
right. And I was too lateralized to the logical left brain.
Right.
But exactly what they promised would happen has happened as I've gone through the Holosync program, which is I've got the option of tapping like logic or creativity. And because then you don't need like a Steve Wozniak and a Steve Jobs, who they were like the right brain, left brain of Apple, right? Steve Jobs was like the right brain
Yeah.
creative,
Yep.
right why guy, and then the how guy was Wozniak. Whereas
Yep.
what if we could embody that ourselves? Then that's power to me. That's total power. And I
Hmm.
can creatively solve my own problems and use logic when necessary and all
You
the
can
rest of
you
it.
can use archetypes to do the same stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
So you can
Yeah,
you can
totally.
cycle through what would the warrior think about this and what would the
What would Jesus
artist
do?
think about this, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, looking at problems and progress in a multifaceted way is good, and you can get there through using your brain differently or by masterminding with people of different value systems and
Mm-hmm.
patterns of focus, or by using the archetype method. They all kind of work. Like, sure, I support it. In
Sure.
the
Yeah.
end, like, even in the end, I would say that if your option is to make yourself better or to do that thing you know you're supposed to be doing, almost always the do the thing you know you're supposed to be doing anyway pays better, right? So if it was like, so you already appear to be fit, you're wearing your sports shirt, you got to gullet, right? So that's because you've done your diet and your exercise right.
True.
If you see a fat guy at meditation, you have to wonder, like, instead of today meditating,
Got you.
why don't you walk around?
Right.
So like because changing you and what you can do, it's nice, but finding people that are already better than you and operating through them is better. So like if you want to scale and make impact, bringing your sucky self to the right problem and working with the right team to fix it makes an impact on thousands of lives. Fixing you mostly just impacts you. It is awesome. It is great. It won't make you a billionaire, right? You have to turn that. You're basically sharpening your sword. You eventually need to use it, right? So sword sharpening and personal development, yeah, I do it. I've done it. I've got a lot of benefit out of it. But the real wins in my life, monetarily and legacy-wise, have come from grinding out that thing that will help thousands of people. You're not going to be a multimillionaire unless you help thousands of people. You're not going to, from my perspective, from my view of life, I care about that thing that has massive impact because it gives back more than the other things. Now, not more emotionally, it has to filter through your emotions still, right? But you got two options. Do you want to feel better about a thing because you forced yourself to feel better about a thing? Or do you just want to have the thing itself be better to start with and then still do your filtering work anyway? You want to change the real world. Changing the real world is better than changing your perception of the world. Like, that's why hippies in general aren't that productive.
Yeah, not
Because they don't
checking
need to
out.
change the real world because they can just change themselves,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I'm kind of anti-hippie, anti-monk. Appreciate them. It's nice people. But I need this world to be better quickly. And fucking around in the journey inward, for the most part, doesn't make the world better quickly. Maybe after a generation of two of those ideas becoming more popular. But I really don't know that meditation leads to hyper effective people. I think for the most part,
Okay.
it gives people enough happiness that they don't have to perform. And for some small portion of hyper productive people, it makes them even better. But I don't think yoga is making anyone better at business. I just don't. Yoga is not meditation exactly, but I think you get the idea. Like,
I totally get it. Totally get it.
there's people that improve themselves all types of ways, which don't, if you get better at dance, I don't give a fuck. I don't care if you get better at dance or not. You might, right? If you get better at singing, I cannot care. I don't care, right? You might. So I believe in personal development. I want the thing that has maximum impact, and me being better at singing or dancing or getting laid, it doesn't really affect thousands of lives. Well,
See, there's something at odds there, where earlier on you were talking about we only care about what's in our sphere of concern immediately. And then you went on to say, and this is a phrase from another one of your videos, which actually hit me. You said, look, I'm not interested unless in a project unless it's going to make multiple millions, because that's what I'm used to. Those are your exact words, and that hit me and stuck with me because I was like, right, that's a certain level of operating as a business person. If that was your attitude, that would make a huge difference, right? Not you.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
it's a good belief to have if it takes the same amount of effort to build $1 billion business as a
Totally.
$1 million business. You just
Sure.
same fucking work. You're putting the same time. You're gonna put all your time in. Okay, well your time's all in.
Right.
So since you're already all in, you want to make $1 million or $1 billion? Billion.
Mm-hmm. So tell me this: did you get to a point where, so when you started in crypto, were you initially thinking like people should be involved in this because of it's going to change the world for the better, right? And this, I mean, maybe I'm projecting because this is
For
exactly my
what? For
experience.
crypto or what?
For crypto, yeah. Were you
No.
initially enthusiastic about it because it was going to change the world for the better?
No.
No. Okay.
Get rich.
That was okay
And how
from the
exactly
get-go.
has it made the world better? Made the world
Well,
better if you held for longer than 3 years. But if you bought at 20K and sold at 3K, you ain't so happy, right?
well, that's an individual investor thing, though. But I would,
Well,
if
I
you,
mean, in
as,
general, like you helped everyone that held for more than 3 years, and you fucked everybody at random, maybe 50-50, that held for 1 year.
what about changes to the system, though? Because you asked the question, what has crypto done? What has it made the world better, right? Well, it's in many ways. It's given us a way of reinventing the financial system so that systemic collapses like 2008 can't happen. Like if we
No,
follow it through to
that's
conclusion, and we create an anti-fragile, decentralized economy, then that's improved the world no end. Now it
yes,
hasn't happened
yes.
yet.
It may one day this could be really awesome. Yes,
Right,
I
gotcha.
agree with that.
Right. Got it.
But
Okay.
we're not there yet. So sure, it could be really amazing one day. You know,
Okay.
we're not there yet.
Okay, so my perception has been shattered because I thought what happened with you was that you came to it with that mindset. I want to promote the cause, and then got
No,
to a
fuck
point
this
where
cost. Like, no, like
no.
no, like what? So first of all, what matters is goods and services. That's what matters. We use money because it helps us more efficiently account for if you got a good and service from one person, you know, now the energy that they got from you, they can like easily transfer to someone else, right? Like we don't want to use barter. It makes it removes friction. So better accounting. Okay. So what's money? It's just accounting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So can we invent a better accounting? Yes. Does that invent new goods that you want to buy? No. Does that invent new services that you want to buy? No. What does it do? It's a net efficiency win for society on a longer time horizon. In a shorter time horizon, it's a cyclical speculative bubble, which goes up 20x and drops 15x over and over and over again. Okay, right? And you're rewarding people that can hold, and you're punishing people that FOMO the top and sell the bottom, right? That's what's really happening. So, and is this helping women? No, because no women buy this stuff. Is this helping kids? No, because kids don't buy this stuff. Like mostly what it's doing right now is getting a larger and larger market cap to get to the point where it could make impact in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as what it's done right now, I mean, it helped the darknet exist. So maybe that reduces harm and gives people better deals on their, recreational chemical consumption. I guess that's good, right? It's better than buying stuff that you don't know if it's good and getting the shit stabbed out of you. So I guess the darknet is an improvement over, the way things are being done. But the guy that, invented the darknet market, he found a way to think himself into thinking paying to get people killed was a good idea. Turned out to be fake, but I'm sure he tried,
Mm-hmm.
So now how good is that? Like, so the same guy that gave crypto a reason to exist at all, for the most part, that invented the darknet, also got corrupted into becoming a virtual murderer. And how did he pay for that? With crypto. So right now, it's better than it is bad. But But in theory, there are existentially very bad things that could perhaps occur, which would be terrible. Like if assassination markets get popular, well, that's going to be really shitty for the world. So I hope they don't, but it is a possibility, right? Or if it becomes so popular that all of the electricity of the world is spent on mining it, and we just destroy the environment, okay, that's not good either, right? So there are edge conditions of horror here. And there's also edge conditions of greatness, right? Like now we don't have to have boom and bust cycles anymore, which are bad for people's psychology, because we have a more realistic interest rate, because we have not free money for everyone, because we have a currency that, cuts in supply. New coins get cut in half every 4 years, right? So there's opportunities for excellence here. There's opportunities for horror. Neither of them will come true when there's only less than 4 million users using the shit, which is the state of the network now. There's 4 million users with over $100 in their wallet. There's actually far less than that, because there's only 4 million addresses that have over $100 in them, and people have more than one address, a lot more than one address. So there may be really only like 1 or 2 million people that have over $100 in crypto and Bitcoin, and that ain't shit. There's 100 million people a day that use Clash of Clans, and they spend more than $100 on average on that shit, I think. Since they make $1 billion profit a year, right? And they're one of like 6 games that does those same numbers, maybe 5.
It's interesting though that the benefit that's been marketed by Clash of Clans is clearly resonating with people more than the benefit of holdings in Bitcoin.
Yeah, sure. Because what good can you do with Bitcoin? Sell it for US dollars you can actually use, or buy a shitcoin that you hope you can sell for more US dollars in the future.
Yeah, but that's still people coming from the very, very low level point of view of just them as an individual. They're not thinking about the different levels of being, like the
well, maybe Facebook coin
society.
cures this, man. Facebook's got a coin now. Maybe it cures everything. Like if you're not in this for the mad gains and you're in this for like the sociological change, then like I would like to see there be less middlemen. I would like to see people stop getting fucked over by banks. However, I kind of developed a product that has dark patterns in it, like a bank, that lets you be the bank and get rich.
Right.
So
Dark patterns.
to one degree. So a dark pattern is when you know people are going to fuck up and it's going to profit some other entity at their cost.
Got it.
So in HEX, if you stake your coins and then you don't do what you said you would and stake them as long as you said you would, you pay a penalty.
Right.
I know some portion of people is going to pay that penalty.
Totally.
Some portion of people is going to lock up their coins and they're going to want out for whatever reason, because life sucks or because they don't like the price chart or whatever.
Patient or whatever.
Whatever reason, people are going to hit that emergency end stake. Now, why do I call it an emergency end stake? So you feel better about getting banged for the fee, because you said you're going to do a thing, you didn't do the thing, so it better be an emergency because you're going to pay a penalty, right?
Right.
So if they, if you stake for a year and you end stake 1 day into your stake, you owe 6 months of interest. And if you were going to receive a lot of interest, you're going to get hit in your principal. And half of that penalty is going to go to the people that stayed staked, right? So if you're staked, you're making money off the people that ejected and gave up. And so it's a high risk, high reward thing, right? So you're the bank. So so normal banks make money screwing you with overdraft fees, signing you up for stuff that you never really signed up for. And they make, I think, most of their money on fees.
Yep.
So in this system, our analog to the dark patterns that banks have, the gotcha capitalism, is the early and late end stake.
Gotcha capitalism, love that. That's so love it.
Yeah. So if you want to be you don't get to be just the bank, you actually get to be the Fed, because in this system, the inflation just gets paid to the stakers. So if you're staked, you'll always make more money being staked than the inflation rate. I guess there's some edge case where if you staked for a really short period of time all the time, and everyone else on average staked more than you, I think in theory you could make less than the average inflation rate. If you were just such a shitty staker that you couldn't make average. If you're an average length staker, then you'll always make more than the inflation rate, which means to you there is no inflation. because you always get more coins every year than are printed, right? Like if we printed 3.69% a year, your income as a staker will always be higher than that. So it's kind of a system where you get to be the Fed and you get to be the bank, and you will always make more than inflation. So for you, there isn't any inflation. Now, in Bitcoin, there is inflation because it's paid to the miners, and the miners sell those coins to pay their electric bills.
Mm-hmm.
So that externality sucks money out of the price pump because the electric company is not buying coins. No. They take the money from the miners and they don't buy coins with them.
And they don't take Bitcoin for the electricity bills.
Right. And then even if they did take it, they would sell it. So, that externality of mining, which Bitcoin has had annualized percents of interest of inflation in the thousands of percent when it first launched, because you went from no coins to lots of coins. Well, right. When you go from nothing to lots, right. So there was a shitload of inflation early on. It took 10 years to finally get down to about 4%. Mm-hmm. We're starting off lower than 4%. Mm-hmm. So it took Bitcoin 10 years to get to the low inflation that we got. And we don't have that externality with miners dumping for electric bills. So it's easier to pump it. And it's also likely to be a lower market cap thing to start with. Therefore, it takes less energy to move the price up. So there's a ton of advantages to the system.
No, totally.
By design.
I mean, it's genius. I just wrote down here a little note about the deferral of gratification is one of the keys to the system.
Yeah, there's a war for longer stakes because you get 20% more shares every extra year that you stake over minimum. Mm-hmm. So, and in the beginning, that matters a lot. So in the first 50 weeks, you've got these huge bonuses that don't exist after 50 weeks. Right. In the first 50 weeks, you've got a We Are All Satoshi bonus, which takes all the unclaimed coins, like Satoshi's unlikely to claim, and they give them to the people that did claim. And then, so people aren't secretive, like, oh, I'm going to keep it a secret, and then I'll get more coins, which kills the price of the project, but people think they're being smart. What we do is we have critical mass and virality. One amplifies the rewards to early people. The more people that claim after them, and the larger the claims are after them. Mm-hmm. So the more people that claim and the larger their claims are after you, it amplifies your rewards from the redistributions. It triples them. So you can get 100% bonus so you've got your We Are All Satoshi, gets redistributed to you, and you get 100% bonus if 100% of people claim, and you get 100% bonus if 100% of coins claim, right? Mm-hmm. So one, it counts the addresses, and one counts the coin mass.
And this is depicted in the new branding.
Yeah, so it's
with those waves.
Exactly. So it's a hexagon growing, and it's really neat. Like I built the logo, and I've had a lot of help.
I mean, I saw it this morning in the chat, and I was like, I got it, because I understand how the system works. I was like, that's literally, visually telling you exactly how the virality of it's going to work.
I like it.
And the color grading and the gradient.
I'm proud.
It's amazing, mate. Totally good. I mean, I'm a marketing branding guy. I got it. Totally got it. Because the brand tells the story. That's what I like about it. Yeah. It's a perfect visual.
And with minimal complication. So we have the project's called HEX. So we had to either go with witchery or geometry. We chose geometry, which is a hexagon. So we have to have a hexagon. Right. So now, how many people have hexagons? Lots of people. Okay, so how's our hexagon going to be different? Well, what's the minimum number of lines, or like what's the minimum number of details that we can add to show exponential growth? Well, you have to throw a line or two in there. So we added 2 lines. We put 2 hexagons in the hexagon. So like, it's simple, it's clear, the color pops. So if you scroll through your icons in Telegram, look at all your other chats, it hits harder than any other one I've seen. I like it a lot.
I like it as well. So it's one.
So with the bonuses in the system, if you get in early and you stake for longer, you're going to get 20% bonus shares for every extra year that you stake, and those bonus shares amplify your rewards over other people for these giant 50-week things. You're going to get more critical mass. You're going to get more We Are All Satoshi. You're going to get more virality, and you're going to get more base interest. But during the first 50 weeks, the base interest isn't shit. It's less than 1% of the rewards. So what really matters during the first 50 weeks when you stake longer is getting all those other giant bonuses. Now, what do those giant bonuses do? They give value to the staker pool at the cost of people that aren't staked, because there's inflation in the system that goes to stakers that does not go to
non-stakers coins.
Exactly. Right.
Got it.
So if you want, well, and the funny thing is, like, so to one degree, it's devaluing non-stakers coins because they're not partaking in the inflation. But to another degree, it's adding value to the unstaked coins because they're the ones that can trade on market, and all the other supply is being sucked into the stakers. So it's weird that it's doing both. The fact that the staking rewards are sucking supply to the market drives up the coins that still exist on market, drives up their price. But those coins that are locked up are gaining more and more interest. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's an interesting push and pull. So less people claim, okay, you get more We Are All Satoshi, but you get less critical mass and virality. More people claim, you get less We Are All Satoshi, but you get more critical mass and virality that multiplies by that, right? More people stake, well then you get less interest on your stake, but there's less coins available on market, which drives the market price up. Okay, less people stake. Well, there's more coins on market, so the price is lower. However, you get more interest by being a staker. All these checks and balances are really neat. Like I can't wait to see what happens, right? Because I've designed it for maximum fundamentals. I want the price to go up higher and faster than anything ever has before. And I want my token now. So today we're testing daily periods, daily sampling frequency. So if you give a person a reason to not stake right this second, they just might not ever stake. And I really want people to stake because it drives up the value of the currency. It gives you a more predictable future circulating supply because you have a chart that shows when coins are coming off a stake. And there's that lottery that they're going to fuck up an emergency end stake, which pays the stakers even more. So the sooner I can get you stake, the longer I can get you stake, the better the system works for everybody. So if we only do 7-day sampling, there's not much advantage for you locking up your coins right after a sample period ended, because you're still going to get the bonus right before the next one.
What's the sample period?
So we use a global timer, and what that means is that you're either in a period and you get paid for it, or you're not.
Okay.
So whether you got in on day 1 or day 7, doesn't matter. We're fixing that, trying to. The code's done, it's being tested, so it's running simulations now. Should work fine. It appears to work fine. So instead of just saying, okay, were you in this week or not, right? And then if you weren't in for a full 7 days, you don't even get paid at all.
Okay.
So this is the way it works with normal CDs too, apparently. You have to be in the CDE for the whole day, or you just don't get paid for that day, right?
For the whole day, right?
Right.
Part
You did a partial day? All right, you're not getting
count.
paid for that. You need to be in for a full day. And so that's where we are now. We want to move it so that you get paid, so that you, at most, you never have to wait more than 24 hours to get optimal play for yourself.
Okay.
Because we want you to be able to stake earlier, right?
You want it to be dynamic, right?
Well, we just want you to be able to benefit from staking as early as possible. And a 24-hour, so there's a trade-off to this. The higher we make the sampling frequency, the higher computation cost is when you close your stake, because it has to loop through more rows.
Totally.
And then it also puts a load on the network, because if people are trying to compound outside the network, so they're not staking longer and making the extra bonus. So to make up for that missing bonus, they'll try and compound outside more often, and then that will just kill the network, right? If you have people doing useless math outside the system and just filling up blocks with useless math because they, imagine if we made it so you could stake for a minute, it would just destroy the network, right? Because people would just be opening and closing stakes all the time, and for what
destroy
reason?
Ethereum, right there.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't mind filling up all the blocks day one and getting the marketing out of it. Hey, look how much we matter.
Classic.
Yeah. So like one day of, hey guys, we're here and we're going to be the first successful app on your system. So enjoy us. come play
You've been in the
along.
headlines all over the place.
Yeah.
Hex brings down Ethereum, and people are like, "What's that?"
Yeah, well, I could pay to do it, but I prefer not to do that. It seems too shady and fucked up. I wouldn't want to harm a network for marketing. Like, I'm okay if the network is harmed through using it the way it's meant to be used.
Proper demand, right? Yeah.
Right. So I'm okay with that. So I think making sure that people need to get their claim in the first day is more likely to make that occur. I think it's a good trade-off.
Certainly.
What else? Yeah.
People don't get how value can be created out of nothing. I get it. I get that.
Well, all value is created out of nothing. That's where all value comes from.
People just can't conceive of that. I totally get it. And I've tried to explain it, but still some people are not thinking it.
Well, so my argument to those guys is, okay, is there a top 10? Okay, you, arbiter of what should work, let me know why those other things are in the top 10. And if you can't answer that question, it's not because the market's wrong, it's because you're wrong. So if you don't know why those other coins are in the top 10 that you don't think belong there, you need to update your worldview, because you're a shitty speculator and you don't understand the market and you don't understand the millions of people that have bought all those things you don't like. And if you don't understand those people, you don't deserve their money. So, all these maximalists that think that their coin is the one true coin and can't understand why anything else is worth billions of dollars, they got to shut up. They don't know what they're talking about. They're bad speculators.
So your question to them is, explain to yourself how the top 10 coins are in the top 10. If you can't, that's a problem.
Yeah, and why do you think that your coin's going to stay where it is?
Mm.
So you think the number one coin's going to stay there? Why? Is it onboarding the most users per day? Is it adding the most features? No? You thought regulatory capture would do it? You thought that like getting on some big exchange and then everyone would pick the one on the big exchange? That didn't work out. Okay, so give me your maximalist use case. Is there more coins now than there ever has been?
My answer is network effect.
Yeah, well, why 4 million users after 10 years? What kind of network effect is that? Comedy network effect?
Well, because the compounding, it's an exponential curve, right?
No, you've got less ATMs. CBOE just delisted Bitcoin off of its futures market.
Just delist Bitcoin, yeah.
Yeah, like there's
okay.
ATMs close.
It's all in the mix.
Like, look, I was a Bitcoin maximalist as hard as one could possibly be, and I shit talked absolutely everything. And to people that traded that advice, if they shorted the shit coins, they did very poorly, right? They got wrecked. Now, I never said to short the shit coins. I don't think. Might have occasionally, maybe. But if you shorted some of these shit coins, you got fucked up because they keep going up. Coins that don't work, coins that shouldn't work, coins that have no product market fit, have no product, like they pump hard as fuck. You're like, all right, so we've got to make two decisions. One, there's fundamental knowledge of what should work, and then there's like, oh, actually the price doesn't care about that shit. No. And you have to make that differentiation. And price calls without time frames are useless as well, because you'll be right and wrong. I think the price will go up and then down. Wow. Okay. So if I guess the cycle right, I get rich, but if I guess the cycle wrong, I get broke, and you were still right both ways. Right?
Right. With an infinite time horizon, all predictions are true.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, you're not going to be able to. It's unlikely you'll be able to buy a $30 Bitcoin anytime soon. But like, people that make price predictions without time frames are useless. They're more harmful than good. Because you can't trade without a time horizon, right? Like,
true. Yeah, you know when to get in, when to get out. Those are the.
Well, you run out of money, right? So if you're short, like if you shorted Bitcoin from 1K to 20K, you better have only been short 5% of your stack, or you were liquidated. So if you because you had to take a 20x drawdown, right? So and that's if you had no fees.
In the wrong direction, that is as well, right?
Right.
It's going against you 20x.
Right. So you would have had to put in. You would have lost 20x your money. So you would have lost your whole stack, and you would have been liquidated a lot earlier if you had invested. You always want to be long crypto. You don't really want to be short crypto. So the math on that is, if you shorted $20,000 Bitcoin, one Bitcoin, and you covered it zero, the fucking price went to zero. You made $20,000. You doubled your money. wow, you doubled your money. In crypto, we don't give a fuck about double, right? Like Litecoin just over the last 2 months is up 160%.
Mm-hmm.
That's more than double, right? Ethereum went up over 100%. Well, it went up about 99.8. Went from like 80 to 160.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't gone more than that yet. Maybe it will. Maybe we find new lows. I'm leaning towards new lows. I don't think the bear market's over. So the point is, if you shorted 20K and covered at zero, the best possible trade you could ever possibly have made as a shorter in Bitcoin, you only doubled your money. If you had bought at $1 and covered at 20K, you would have made 20,000 times your money,
Sure.
not 2 times. It's 10,000 times better. So in this example, it's 10,000 times better to be long than short. It's even more than that, really, because I let the short cover at 0 and I let the long buy at 1, right? So let's just say they both closed at 1, right? So the short sold 20K, covered at $1.
$1.
He made 99 he made like almost double his money. He's $1 short. And then the long made 20,000x. You want 20,000x or 2x? Being long it's the way to be. Like long is the best.
And HEX encourages long, right? So it's the offering for HEX is to squarely target store of value. Right?
We kind of target everything. So Bitcoin targeted currency, failed entirely, went up to 20,000 anyway. No users.
True.
Okay. So we can do 20,000 on no users and not a currency?
Went to
Cool.
20K based on what, though? People's perception that it was what?
I don't care. I don't really care. It went up to 20,000. That's enough for me. How we got there? People think it's the future of currency. People think it's the future of store of value. People think CME is going to ETF it or whatever. Fine, whatever.
Everyone
I
probably
don't
have a
care.
different reason, to be honest. So yeah,
Yeah. So you'd have to survey everybody, right?
you would, which
It's
is
hard
not
to do.
useful. Yeah,
So I think it went to 20K because people thought it would go to 40K. That's why I think so.
Sure, totally.
Right? So if I have a product which does transactions for cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
doesn't have inflation bugs because the code is hard written in the contract,
Mm-hmm.
it has higher throughput,
Mm-hmm.
it has better game theory, it pays holders instead of miners,
Mm-hmm.
it has a referral program,
Yep.
it's more fairly distributed, there's a whale penalty. If you're a whale, you lose half to 75% of your stack if you don't split your wallet up before the snapshot. You don't care enough about this project to be smart and avoid the whale penalty? Fuck you, you get penalized. You don't get to dump your bags on us once we made this project awesome.
And the whale penalty is what, 1,000 Bitcoin in
Yeah.
single address.
If you have 1,000 Bitcoin in an address, you get a 50% cut. It scales up to 75% cut at 10,000, right?
So
If
you
you're
have to split your coins into 1,000 Bitcoin per address.
less than 1,000.
Less than that, and then but you also have to you have to claim each one individually, right?
Yeah, yes.
So that's creates a bit of an admin ball ache, but
It's
that's
pretty
good.
easy. You know,
I mean,
you're
suppose you could
literally like
automate
copy,
it.
paste, submit. Like, you know, it would take you
Worth it.
like 5 minutes instead of 1 minute.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got better game theory, cheaper fees, higher throughput, addresses more use cases. So it doesn't just do currency. It also does store value better from the start as a design feature. Lock up longer, get paid more, just like a real CD in the real world, the most popular product at your bank other than a checking and savings account.
Right.
Next most popular account, time deposit, CD, right? And what do? They pay you 20% more every extra year. And that's what we do too. We just start with a higher rate.
Just dig into that a little bit. So there's the big year is the first year because you've got all of the one-time fancy bonuses like we are all Satoshi and this and that, right?
Yep.
And you said earlier on there are more bonuses for staking beyond the first year.
Well, because you get more shares. So the people that
isn't
stake
that just
longer
a
than
standard
you get
fee?
more shares, and then they crowd you out if you didn't stake as long as they did. So the pool redistributes its money heavier to people that stake longer because they get more shares.
Right. And what's the maximum if I want to stake? What's the maximum length I can choose?
Your share cap will be a 200% bonus, which is basically a 3x. So if you were to stake for 10 years over minimum, which the code as it is now, I guess, is a 1-day minimum. A few days ago, it was a 7-day minimum. We can set that where we want to. So it would be if you did a stake for 10 years plus a day or 10 years plus a week, depending on which the minimum was, you would get the maximum bonus, which is 3x the shares. So 200% bonus shares. So if you had 1 Bitcoin, it would be the equivalent of having 3 Bitcoin, right? Or if so now, if everyone else staked just as long as you would have to do that just to stay even. But if everyone else stakes less long than you, you're doing way better because you're taking the money they would have got and you're giving it to yourself. So
run that again. If everyone's say staked for 10 years, everyone does that, then
it cancels out.
Then everyone cancels out, and
right. So if everyone stakes for a year, it cancels out. If everyone stakes for 10 years, it cancels out. But if one person's willing to stake longer, they're going to get outsized returns by taking away profit from the people that stake less long, because
they beat the market, as it were.
Well, they got diluted because they didn't get the bonus shares, but that guy did, right? So it was a war for longer shares. Super cool game theory, like really cool. It's similar to what happens in Bitcoin, where there's a fixed reward pool, and then there's competition for higher hash rate to get a larger share of that reward pool. It's very similar. Except in that game, you give more money to giant mining companies that are in weird countries, and then they do bad stuff with that money, like make a fake Bitcoin and try and convince people it's real. I won't remind you who did that, but it happened. And then they, destroy the environment and give the money to electric companies. That's not good, right? That's not good pumpamentals. Our system is better.
So am I right in saying that the inflation in HEX, it's the
3.69% per year on a delay, because it's only paid to people that have ended their stake. So if you don't end so if you have a 10-year stake, that inflation never gets to market, right?
Created.
It gets created, it gets paid into the pool, but the circulating supply is the total supply minus the balance of the contract.
Right, because it gets added to the locked deposit of mine anyway.
Kind of, yeah. It gets added to the pool that your deposit is in, and then your deposit at the end will be taking coins out of that pool.
Yeah, the amount that I have the right to withdraw is more than when I started, right?
Yes.
So so it's just like the bank depositing the interest in the account, but you still got to keep it in there for the staking period.
It's similar, yeah. It's similar.
Okay. Yep.
So the point is, you'll have 3.69% inflation to a thing that can never circulate. The only thing that can circulate are the people who actually end their stakes.
Yes. And
they have to do it without a penalty.
So that's the only way the inflation gets into circulation.
Right. Because it has to leave the balance of the contract.
It's like being mined, and the miner has to spend it. But in this case, the interest gets paid to the stakers, and they have to unstake it to get it out.
Right.
That's how the new coins get out into circulation. Right?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, to be specific, you do not get paid anything until your stake is ended.
Okay.
When your stake is ended, then you get paid. If your stake is not ended, you're not getting paid.
And accruing interest like a bank.
Right, but it's not really your balance. So there's how many shares you've got, and there's how many shares there are total from everybody, and that's your cut, right? So you own 1% of all the shares, you get 1% of all the money in the pool. Yep. You were staked for this day, you get 1% of that day. You were staked for this day, you get 1% of that day. You're staked for this day, you get 1% of that day. Now, what is that day? That day is the pool plus 3.69% over, the year. It's prorated out, right? Plus half the emergency end stake, money, and half of the late end stake money. Those are your three inputs. You've got your inflation, your emergency end stake, and your late end stake. Those are the inputs to the pool. And so your ratio of how many shares you have to how many shares are total just gives you the right to, when you end your contracts, loop through each one of those days, add up your shares, and get paid.
Do you know what I'm thinking right now? One of the things that I've studied is systems theory, and one of the things I'm good at, it's probably my key skill, is building systems models.
Neat.
And more recently, like, I've had this skill that's been developed for a number of years, but more recently, as an educator, I've started using them to teach concepts, because when you build out a system and you can see the relationships between all the different concepts,
it gives you a nice tree to put knowledge on top of.
And people can see the relationships between all the concepts. I'm thinking what would really be great is if I sat down and built a systems model for how the economics of HEX works.
Yep.
And then that's going to help me because I can give my referral.
Well, this is part of the game theory. So
Right.
the complexity in the system is one part fundamentals, but as a side effect, it's also addictive to think about, because there's so many interplaying parts that I'm discovering new things, and I built the system. This concept that when you stake, you become not just the bank, but the Fed, I came up with that 2 days ago. I've been working on this for a year. And that's a good ass idea.
It was always like an emergent property.
And then like several months ago, maybe 2 months ago, I came up with, look, Bitcoin wasn't designed to replace all parts of banking. It was just designed to replace currency. So if you want to get rid of the banking criminal cocksuckers, you need to replace all the parts.
Yep.
So what else do? Well, they do time deposits. Bitcoin ain't going to be able to do them because it can lock coins, but it can't bear interest for those coins. So no one will lock them.
Well, no, you can't change the mining rewards to
Right.
pay stakers.
Right. So now in our system, we're built to do something that's a $600 billion market in the United States alone. It's a multi-trillion-dollar market internationally.
Because this is the internet we're talking about.
So like understanding, if you like Bitcoin because it tried to do currency, you should love us because we're doing this other banking thing that Bitcoin doesn't want to do.
And also,
so if you like Bitcoin, you should love us because we're both trying to get rid of the banks.
The unbanked can now have a certificate of deposit account as well.
Yeah, and it's funny. Like I don't know which slogan is better. So there's bank the unbanked, and then there's unbank the banked. They're both good slogans, right? So I've got a list of good slogans.
I don't want to say it, but when you describe Bitcoin HEX, people say, "Oh, they're trying to build a better Bitcoin." Well, this is about as close as we've got.
It's easy to do because Bitcoin hasn't changed in 10 years. It hasn't added anything. Nothing.
I mean, not in terms of the tech. I mean, in terms of it being a useful product in the world that actually does replace the features of the banking system.
Well, I mean, look, if you want to make impact in the world, you got to have users. If you've only got if you've only got 4 million users, you suck. If you've only got 4 million users after 10 years, you actually genuinely suck. It's not good. In the year 2020,
the problem with
which is about where we are now.
System.
Well, it's the tragedy of the commons. No one can afford to onboard users because they don't own enough of the Bitcoin to be cash positive bringing someone in. So there's no Bitcoin ads.
The return on that, is distributed to the whole community.
Right. So, you pay $20 to bring a user on and the price moves up a penny and now you lost $19.99. Well, fuck that. I could have bought $19 of coins. So why the fuck would I buy ads when I can buy coins, right?
Yeah.
And then everyone does that, and then there's no ads, and then there's no users, and then you get delisted off the CBOE.
And then people buy it because the price is going up, because they hear about it because the price is going up.
Yeah. And then when the price stops going up, no one buys it anymore.
And it goes in the opposite
and
direction.
Then you drop 80%.
Absolutely. Like, and then I watch my YouTube subscribers, views, everything just absolutely tank.
Yep.
Which is interesting. Very interesting. And I've been watching.
Nobody wants to buy the shit if it's not going up, including me. I'm not buying the shit unless it starts going up. Let's do the 5,200 daily moving average cross and then have a nice bull trap and then do it again for real. Let's do that.
You mean
just like we did last bear? Well, that's what we did last bear market. We had a fake out 5,200 cross, and then we had another fake out, and then the third one was real.
The what cross?
50 to 200 daily moving average. It just means that you've been dying for 200 days, but you started going up in the last 50 days. That's all it means.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
Litecoin should 5,200 golden cross tonight. So tonight the Litecoin should cross. I think it'll trap a lot of people that will long it and get fucked because they just bought something that went up 160% over the last couple months. But we'll see. If the crypto bear market decides it wants to end right now, fine. I'm cool with it. I'm ready to get long and strong. But, if we want to flop around for another 6 months and do some more bear market, this is really the end, crypto will never come back feels, I'm okay with that too. I've been through this.
Well, that's the crypto will never come back feels. People are just in the doldrums like, oh, this is it. It's
We're not there
it's
yet.
dead.
People don't think crypto is truly dead yet. There's a lot more pain that could come. There's not even good FUD. We don't even have good FUD. I mean, wait till good FUD happens. FUD, then you could be like, yeah, let's do new lows.
You mean a real event or there's
Well, no, people don't need a reason to dump. I mean, this shit pumps and dumps on its own just because that's how the market works. It doesn't need a good reason, but, we did a good 40% drop on China ban. We've done 40% drops for other reasons. We're going to keep doing them. So why not buy one of those? Why not buy a 40% drop? Why do you got to buy a 160% pump? In a bear market. You don't really want to get margin long in a bear market. You kind of want to wait for the trend to resume to buy the top and just wait, and you'll get a new all-time high all the time. Oh, cool. Can't lose. Unless you're over leveraged.
Litecoin chart, actually. So I'm timing it like 4th of April. If I trend out the 50 and the 200-day moving average, they cross on the 4th of April this year.
Okay. Well, what I know right now is on the daily chart, which is when the 5200 DMA is measured, that the price of the 200 moving average, I believe, is like $41.04, and the price of the 50-day moving average is $41.02.
Okay.
And
I
we're
use
maybe
exponential moving averages. That's the difference.
Yeah, I'm not using EMA. I'm using SMA.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it feels to me like we should cross tomorrow, but I didn't really brute force the math. I mean, we're 3 cents away, and the current price is a good deal over the 50 and the 200. So
it is.
It would if we moved less than 3 cents in a day, I'd be like, damn, I really thought that would have crossed. But sure, it is possible. I mean, I could do the math. It's just hard math.
Okay. I think I'm feeling the momentum coming to a close. How about you?
Nope.
No.
I'm looking at our viewers. Viewers is going up.
Okay. They're going up. Okay, we'll carry on.
Yeah. I'll talk for hours. I don't care, man. I'll talk about anything.
So let's see some chat questions here. What's the best strategy for the average person claiming HEX? I think we've covered that.
Claim as early as you can and stake as long as you're comfortable, is my opinion.
Stake as long as you can. What's the shortest stake time?
It could be a day, could be 7 days. It's up to me. It's kind of up to me. So right now it's 7 days. The testing on daily period code is going on now. Seems to be fine. And then it's up to me. I think I haven't decided yet. I have to decide how much I want to risk hurting the network for letting people stake earlier. I think that I'm going to let daily be the way, I think. Because I think the network can take it, and I think smart people are going to stake longer anyway. And so really it's just going to allow people to start their stakes earlier without having to feel like they got cheated, by having to wait for it just ticked, so let's get in right before the tick, the next tick.
Mm-hmm. So that means the smart contract will run that function once a day.
People opening and closing stakes and performing interactions with the contract cause those logs to be written once a day. If no one runs them, then the next guy that runs them has to backfill all the days they missed.
Mm-hmm.
So the contract doesn't do anything unless it's asked to, because that's how blockchain works. So when people do things, then the code performs computation.
Mm-hmm.
So there isn't actually any computer anywhere doing anything for you. It's only done when you do it. When you pay your money to run the code that you want, then those operations are performed. There isn't any other central entity that can change anything or do anything. It's peer-to-peer. It's trustless.
User initiated, and that's where you pay your own gas fees and all the rest of it.
Yeah, and it's also nice because it's, you know, pretty obviously not a security. You're running your own code on computers that you paid to run that on. What do I have to do with that? Nothing.
No.
Right? So
And that also means that when you deploy this smart contract, it's then autonomous, right? It's
yeah, can't be changed.
right.
Can't be changed, can't be edited, can't be rolled back. I mean, I guess in theory you could like roll back the blockchain, but just
Well, yeah,
happened once
that's
in Ethereum ever.
unlikely.
Maybe, I think it's happened once in Bitcoin. Like it's not very common.
Mm-hmm. Sure. I had another question there, which was, oh yeah, this was something I was going to advise my viewers to do, but now you're here, I'll ask you. So I get my Ledger hardware wallet out, connected to Electrum, and I sign the message,
Yep.
include my Ethereum address that I want my hex coins to come to because it's an ERC20.
Yep.
Um, most people will have their Bitcoin spread across multiple addresses.
Yep.
So what I was going to suggest people do prior to the snapshot is basically send all their coins to themselves, but send them all to the same address so they only have to make one claim.
You could do that. So what you're doing is you're trading privacy for convenience. So if you claim each Bitcoin address to a new Ethereum address, you're just as anonymous as you were before.
Mm-hmm.
If you want it to be more convenient, you can just consolidate all your coins.
Right. I'm thinking about
So they're both
the
fine.
average crypto user that it's going to be complicated enough for them.
Sure. Yeah.
Without
Send all your coins to one address and then just claim the one address. It's easy. Yeah.
And you're saying that's at the cost
Use
of
people's
privacy, right?
affiliate links. Use their referral links. I think there's a referral link in your video. There should be one.
Mm-hmm.
If you click his referral link, he's going to make 20% on the claim. He's a nice guy. He educated you about it. It's not going to cost you anything, right? It's not going to come out of your stack. You're still going to get paid in full. So, and if you want to make referral links, you can make them too. And then you can make 20% on other people's claims. Like it's nice.
So with that referral program, we're all competing for a greater share of the rewards, right? The inflation. Is that right? Because it's not like the coin's going to inflate.
The coin
more
inflates to pay the refer.
But not beyond 3.69% a year.
No, it pays 20% referral. So if someone claims using your link, the currency inflates 20% to pay you, and then it pays them in full.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then there's an origin address that gets paid a copy of bonuses. So it does get a copy of referral. It does get a copy of all the bonuses. It doesn't get anything on interest unless it like earns it, but it doesn't get anything on any interest that you make, and it doesn't get anything on base claims. As a matter of fact, the origin address gets paid less the more people that claim as a percentage, which is fine because the US dollar price from new users would exceed the amount of decreased value it got as a percentage. This whole game is about onboarding users. If you want a high market cap, you want to keep it, you need users.
So the end of month one, say after launch, we don't know what this circulating supply is going to be, or even the supply is going to be.
It's a function of how many people claimed, how many of those people were referred, how many of those people were hit with whale penalties, how many of those people claimed in the beginning of that phase because the speed bonus is larger. If you claim first day or first week, you get 20% speed bonus. The supply is higher, the more bonuses that get handed out, and that's to reward the people that got in early.
It is some serious game theory, right? It's like
It's complex, man. Like, it's so complex that I don't think anyone could completely understand it. But you don't need to completely understand it. You just need to get the overtones. You're like, earlier better? Yes. Stake longer better? Yes. Okay. Well, that's all you really need to know. Refer people better? Yep. Okay. That's what you really need to know, right?
Better for everybody as well.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, it's great. I mean, the only people that lose are, the people that didn't refer people or the people that didn't stake. Well, fuck those guys. They didn't believe.
Didn't have any Bitcoin or whatever.
Like, okay. Right, if you didn't have any Bitcoin, then all right, you don't get free stuff. Oh well. Buy it from some people that did get the free stuff. Maybe they'll give you an okay deal.
You don't
You know?
absolutely need any Bitcoin either, do you? Because
No.
someone in Lagos in Africa could just get the referral link and earn it that
Mm-hmm.
way,
Yep. Or you can just
never
buy
having
it on
owned it.
market. So I
I
opened
mean,
up some
then
new.
they
Go
could
ahead.
just have their mobile phone with a Ethereum wallet,
Mm-hmm.
never ever have owned any Bitcoin
Yep.
before, refer people, and
Yep.
boom.
Yes. Correct.
Right.
Also, you know, I opened up on this rebrand from Bitcoin Hex to just Hex, which is a vastly superior brand. Bitcoin as a brand actually sucks. Two commodity terms that mean nothing. Compound word. Bitcoin.
Mhm.
Let's look at the most profitable companies in the world. Let's look at the highest market cap companies. Apple. Does Apple sell apples? No.
No,
Amazon. Do they sell like tours on the Amazon River?
no,
No. Alphabet. That's the company that owns Google.
right.
None of those names got a damn thing to do with their business, right?
True.
So Bitcoin is actually not a good brand name. Hex is a way better brand name that you can't misspell, you can't mispronounce. It's sex but with an H. It's awesome. Like it's really, 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 really good. It's 3 letters. 3 letters. Even the suffix is good. Win. People like winning. What do you like better? You want to win or you want to calm? I don't know. You can misspell calm, I guess. Like, I'm very happy with the brand. So Hex is a better brand name than Bitcoin, and it's definitely a better brand name than Bitcoin Hex. So
When did you decide to drop the Bitcoin from Bitcoin Hex?
I've been trying to drop it forever. I tried to call it Strape or Hex Trust or Hex Trust or Trustless Interest or Scarcity Coin, or no one liked any of them. So eventually I was like, you guys like Hex? Yeah? Okay, we do that. You know how hard it is to get a 3-letter domain name? It's hard. It's really hard.
Yep.
The minimum price that you can pay for a 3-letter domain name that makes no sense whatsoever is about $17,800.
Wow.
And that's for a domain that has no meaning at all. Random 3, like ZXZ, 20 grand. So to get a 3-letter domain name is exceptionally hard. If you could spell something with it, if it's a dictionary word, a couple $100,000 minimum. If it's a good dictionary word, millions.
So Hex was hexagon, but
Yeah.
when I saw it, Hex is also curse.
Yep.
I'm sure you've thought of that.
Yeah, it's just not that common. It's like if you Google it and look at the search results, like your first result is like hexadecimal, and then you just
Yeah,
you have to be
hexadecimal's
into
better, right?
you have to be into fiction to like know hex as a curse, right?
So
You have to
where
be.
did the Hex name come from?
I registered every reasonable good Bitcoin domain that was available. So I've got like Bitcoin Tiny and Bitcoin Useful and all types of Bitcoin domains. And Bitcoin Hex was just free. I was like, fuck, that's good. I got a good technological 3 letters on the end of Bitcoin. That's fabulous, right?
Yep.
And then, we make like now for like narrative, you can make up a story. Oh, it represents our 6 core values: open source, trustless, mad gains. But in reality, you're like, yeah, it's the 3-letter suffix. Like there ain't none available. I got this one and some others. This one was the best by far. But once again, like Bitcoin is a shittier brand than Hex, and Bitcoin Hex is a way shittier brand than Hex. Hex is amazing. It's so good. I just didn't, and I wanted to brand it as Hex earlier, but I was worried people would lock up the IP because I needed to get the Telegram group name and the Reddit name, and I had to lock all that stuff up before I told people what my plan was because they'd front run me and try and steal all the fucking names, right?
Yep.
Now it's funny because Hex, it's such a good name that all the URLs are already taken. So if you want Hex price, Hex chart, Hex mining, Hex anything, it's already taken, and it's been taken for years because it's a good ass name. So I don't have to worry about new people front running me because old people had already done it. So the brand is better, the logo is better, the game theory is better, the amount of money you'll make on it's better. Hey, you got it for free? and it's likely to go top 10 and then top 1, well, fuck, okay. That's pretty good, right? You're not going to get 100x of Bitcoin. You get 100,000x in this coin. It works the way I designed it to. What else?
How are you going to get your investment back on building the thing?
Well, I've got Bitcoin, so claiming would be nice. And there's all these theories as to who the origin address is. Nobody really knows because nobody knows their address yet. Whoever that guy is, he's going to do really well. Should be a very happy guy. Which is good because if that guy was smart, if the origin address was smart, he would take his nice bag of HEX and he would invest it in marketing. And then he could make even more money. Because that's what's missing. If you look at the coins that are in the top 10 now, their supplies are in billions of units. So XRP, XLM, their ADA, TRX, Tether, they're all billions of units. Bitcoin's millions of units. To get from 1 million to 1 billion, you need 1,000 times more, right? So XRP, XLM, about 100 billion. I think TRX is like 45 billion. I think ADA is like 25 billion. I think Tether might be like, I don't know, 2.4 billion, something like that. So the units are better because it's a cheaper coin for people to buy at the retail level.
Yep.
And then you don't have this unit bias problem where if you go on Coinbase, you could either buy for $100 2 Litecoin or 0.003 Bitcoin. Well, fuck that. Like, you buy the, not sure I got the right number of O's on the number in Bitcoin there. It might be 0.03 is $100, but you get the idea.
Yeah, I dig it, totally get it.
You want 2 of something instead of 0.03 of something, for sure. Particularly since it just went up 160% from the bottom and Bitcoin only went up 20%. Which one do you think normal investor wants to buy? The thing that just went up 8 times more? Well, yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that, right? That's what most people do. And I can't really say that they're that wrong to do it. I mean, it seems like if it's the bull market, maybe that's a good idea, right? Maybe the thing that takes less to pump will pump more. That's what happened in 2017. If you look at the highest ROI in 2016, 17, 18, or 2015, 16, 17, Bitcoin wasn't even in the top 25. People that think they're smart, they tell you that, Bitcoin's the way to go, but then when you show them the return on investment for those 3 years and it's not even the top 25, crickets, because they're not smart and they don't know how to speculate. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they don't know about what other things do better than the thing that they bought because they want to live in their bubble and think that what they bought is perfect. And I used to kind of be one of those guys. So I get it. I used to do that, and then I learned, and then I shut the fuck up and was like, oh, it's actually like this. Those guys made more money faster. Okay, well then let's stop the shit talking, because the making money is what we're doing here. That's the game right now. Maybe one day the game will be more. Right now, it's mad gains. So let's do that better, right? Store value speculation, let's do that better. Cool, right. We get big time adoption, we can be a real currency, even better to love it. But right now we're doing the speculation store value thing. That's the only thing that has got proven adoption. Except for Darknet, and there's just not enough illegal drug purchases in the world to hold $1 trillion market cap. It's not, not over the internet. So
even beyond the law, that's a bad market to tap.
Well, it's just not big enough. I mean, right. Think about it this way. How much money do you put into your 401k each year, and how much money do you put in illegal drug consumption? And the 401k is an order of magnitude larger, unless you're broke or heavily addicted or both. So, the Darknet is the only real use case this stuff has outside of speculation. Speculation is good enough. People ask, oh, well, what do you really want to do? I want to make something that goes up in price higher, faster. Well, what else? There ain't got to be no what else. That's enough. As a matter of fact, that's the best thing ever. Why do you want more? Is that not enough? What, you need to do your homework too? It's got to program your VCR? How about just going up 20x or 100x and making you able to buy a Lamborghini? Is that enough for you? Right? But people think that they're changing the world. Like, oh no, man, I want to revolutionize distribution technology so Walmart can keep track of their inventory better. Yeah, how are you going to do that? That makes you rich. Oh, well, we're going to fuck them over and charge them a lot for a token, and then they'll be able to do it. That sounds like a good technology. How about Walmart fork your project, get it for free, and not pump your token? Just like Facebook did. Did Facebook buy your token? No, they built their own. Just like they built their own everything else, including hardware servers. Yeah, why the fuck would you think that they would buy your thing? I've been telling people for years that Amazon and Facebook would never, ever buy their bags. Ever. Because they build all their own stuff from scratch. They build their own software. They build their own servers. They build their own networks. They don't, pump your bags for you. As a matter of fact, they see that you're making money. They make a copy of your bag and pump that. Amazon makes copies of everyone that uses a system and competes against them. If you're successful in AWS, they make a copy of your shit and compete against you. If you're successful in Amazon's retail program, selling on Amazon.com, they find who your supplier is and make an Amazon Basics version of your shit and compete against you. You thought these people were going to buy your bags? How fucking stupid are you? Right? So, like, crypto people that think they're smart, very often not smart, which is why they bought 20K, sold 3K. Like, I told them to get out at 8,500, right? So if you're in an asset which drops 40% all the time in the biggest bull run it's had, longest bull run it's had, you can't panic sell 40%. It might just be the bottom to buy, right? So you can't really know the fucking end is happening until you do more than 40% once or twice. And that's when I knew it was over. And then in a short time frame, and I got out, and then everybody else, they hated me because I told them, look, we're going to do a multi-year bear market now. And they're like, oh, no, fuck you, Richard. No, you're stupid. We hate you. Pump our bags or we hate you. Your life is just to pump our bags, Richard. And I was right. And now the price went down to 3,000, right? And I was right the instant it happened too, because it dropped 33% from there, or 26% or 33%, something like that. It went from 8,500 down to 52.55 or 58.55. I think it was 58.55. So yeah, I get this shit right all the time. And then the people that are smart enough to listen and take the chip off their shoulder and realize I've been at this for longer and I know more than they do, they get to make money. And the people that decide to take the other side of the position and do opposite me, they get to go broke. Roger Ver decided to take the Bcash position, and I decided to take the Bitcoin position. Bitcoin, Bcash used to be worth half of a Bitcoin. Now it's worth 2% of a Bitcoin, 3% of a Bitcoin. So he lost millions and millions and millions of dollars because he didn't want to take my advice. All right. Well,
he's a bit stuck, I suppose, because publicly he's got so much invested in Roger Ver as the Bitcoin Cash guy that even if internally he changed his mind, he's kind of stuck now. What's he going to do? He's going to have to, fold his whole ego, I suppose, to come back from it.
Such is the fate of people that choose poorly. Like, if you try and make a fake Bitcoin and lie and say that your fake Bitcoins are real Bitcoin, and then give free money to people that dump on your head, like the Mt. Gox trustee, who just dumps on you, and then, attract an ecosystem of people that ain't fabulous, and so then that fractions, and then they stab each other in the back, which created the BSV fork, right? Like, where's the good thing here, right? Oh, you got cheap transactions? So does Dogecoin. Dogecoin does more transactions than you do. Is that the future of finance? Meme coin? Doggone it. So what exactly you got going on, right? Now you even do checkpointing to prevent yourself from 51% attacks. So you can't even trust that the chain with like the most work is the real chain because it requires your checkpoint. Like, it's all fucked up. It's all bad. And I told him that. I'm like, there's a reason no developers want to work with you. You got one developer to do this fork that you launched on a Wix website? I don't know, man. Sounds crappy. Like, and then it turned out crap, right? And people that dumped it on site made a 15% dividend. Thanks for the 15% dividend. Roger dumping Bitcoin for fake Bitcoin was part of that dividend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not sure when he I think he got out of a lot of his stack when it launched on Coinbase. Maybe, I don't know. There was a big 25,000 coin wall on Bittrex when the fork first came out. So there's a theory that was him getting out of his Bitcoin into Bcash because it was an unreasonable wall. They could have got filled at a lower price, but they were trying to like maintain a higher price. So they're trying to steal away all the miners and do a death spiral kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of gross.
Something occurred to me just a second ago when you were talking about what does HEX do? Well, it's going to pump harder than anything's ever pumped before. And people say, what else? And you go, what do you mean, what else? That's what it does, right?
Yeah, like why do you need more? Is that not enough? I mean, we also have, right. I have a lot of other things. We have cheaper transactions. We have higher throughput. We have no inflation bugs. We've got a referral program. There's an origin address that, hey, maybe if it's smart, might buy a lot of ads, but I can't tell you about it because you don't know who it is, and it can't make you any guarantees because of the Howey test. So you have to expect nothing from it. You expect no work from it, right? Because this ain't a security. You know, you don't get anything, right? Maybe it comes in your house and is mean to you, farts on you in your sleep. Don't like it, fine, right? Or maybe you see it stakes a long time and you're like, oh, this thing believes in the project, right? It's all public, so you'll see what happens.
See how that address behaves.
Yeah, right? Like, I think optimal play for it is to move its coins to other addresses to appear to have divested, and then for those addresses to stake to show belief in the project. Seems like optimal gameplay, right? But if it wanted to like pump its bag with ads, it would need to sell some. So we'll see how it works out.
What I was going to say on that though is I just wrote on my notes here, a dose of reality. That's what makes people uncomfortable. So, like you were saying with say the Bitcoin bear market, once, and I call this the personality trait of openness or not. So not would be so married to a perception that no amount of, it's like the cognitive dissonance thing, no amount of actual sensory input gets through.
Right.
So you just won't accept the reality that's right in front of your senses because the perception is more real than reality.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I've been at mercy of this, and this you admit, you say things like, "Oh, the reason I know this is because I used to be one of those people like Bitcoin maximalists, and I've graduated in awareness from that point, and now I'm going to do the same thing and say, I spent the first, probably still doing it a bit now, but I spent the first maybe year or two in crypto, like building online courses and teaching people about the tech and the humanitarian benefits and all that sort of stuff, which was excruciatingly difficult and burned up so much energy to get zero traction almost. Right.
Yeah.
I got, I helped a few people and they were grateful and so on, but it was tiny. And it was because it took me a long time and a lot of headbutting against reality to get to the point where I was like, oh, the only thing people really care about is making money at this thing.
Yeah. And like, you have to understand that if you want to replace other global currencies, a currency is more useful if it is more liquid. And more liquid means higher price. So it's okay. Like, it's okay that the price just goes up. We'll figure out the other stuff later. It needs to have a high value to have monetary utility. So their desire for mad gains is enough. And if an oscillating distributed Ponzi scheme that eventually becomes a world-changing global revolution is how we get there, that's fine, because there wasn't any other way to get there. How else would we get there? The price has to start low and it has to go high. Well, someone's got to buy, and they got to buy a lot. So, and you can't put a law on people's psychology to say, hey, you can't think it's worth more too quickly. You have to think it's worth more slowly. And then if you think it's worth less, you can't sell it too quickly. You have to sell it slowly because we don't like bubbles. You can't do that, right?
So who's going to buy it though? Because that's the only way that the price is going to get created, right?
Who will buy what?
Big HEX.
The same people that bought everything else.
Yes.
Same guys.
I know that sounded like a stupid question, but I had to ask it so that we got it.
No, I get this question all the time. Like, So we're doing things to get our market cap higher early. So we're minting the coins to be distributed through the We Are Satoshi up front, which increases the supply early, which, depending on who's measuring the market cap, if they count those coins as circulating, then, which they shouldn't, but if they do, then the market cap will be higher earlier, which will get bots that do market cap weighted balancing to buy into us. So tons and tons of funds exist, and they don't pick winners and losers. They just buy whatever's got a market cap, right? So if Bitcoin is 60% of the market cap, then their fund is 60% of Bitcoin. If Ethereum is 20% of the market cap, they put 20% of their fund in Ethereum, right? And if those move around, they weight their fund, they move their fund around too. Now, what's the downside to that? Rewards every shitcoin that gets high market cap. Okay, well, I get that game. Fine, I want those bots buying in. Let's get a market cap quicker up if we can, right?
And get the bots' attention.
Right. Now the downside to that is that it reduces our hockey stick shape a little bit, because we're kicking the left side up. From my perspective, from you guys, it's backwards, because we're kicking the left side up a bit. But I think it's a good trade-off to get bots to buy in earlier, and there's a chance that people accurately measure circulating supply anyway, and circulating supply doesn't include the balance of the contract, so those coins wouldn't be counted in the balance of the contract, or wouldn't be counted as circulating supply anyway. So kind of it makes it so that there's a chance, if they calculate the circulating supply, what I would consider inaccurately, that we get higher in the market cap quicker. We'll see how it works out.
So that's the dose of reality. So HEX is a project setting out intending to make money. And when I read the YouTube comments, that's the thing people cannot accept.
It's funny. It's like, what about virtual made up money that we just invented ourselves isn't a money grab? What virtual currency is not a money grab? You're literally creating money out of nothing. So tell me where's not the money grab.
Oh yeah, that happens in World of Warcraft. It happens in all the virtual games. Anywhere where you exchange, quote, real money for virtual money or whatever, that's what it is.
Well, that's what dollars are. Dollars are
Very
virtual
true.
money. They're not real.
Totally.
They're ledgers in a bank account. They just suck because you don't get paid the inflation. Someone else does. It's not you. If you were the bank, or if you were the Fed, you would think that inflation was awesome and economic system was awesome, right? But instead, you're on the wrong side of inflation. Prices keep getting higher for you. But for those guys, prices keep getting cheaper because they earn more money in interest than the inflation rate.
Which is why they won't change the system, because they benefit from it.
Yeah. I mean, they'd be okay with system changes if they ended up more wealthy out of it. Like, if there was global efficiency to be had.
Right.
So it's hard for people to understand the way these markets really work. The way these markets really work is that no one uses crypto for anything at all. Get your head out of your ass. Stop dreaming. The only people that actually use crypto are the darknet markets, and it's maybe 3 to 5% of the market cap's value. So if you want to value these things accurately for the real utility today, you can cut 95% of the fucking market cap right now and just assign it the value that the darknet does. Because everything else is la la land fucking speculation value. Period. Right? If you're not okay with that, fuck yourself. You don't deserve to get to set the prices. The prices are set by thousands of people buying and selling against each other to do price discovery. If your opinion of their price discovery is that they did it wrong, you're probably wrong. Now, on a longer time frame, projects that do suck should fail. And one day you'll get to say, I told you so, after all your friends bought mansions, right? Now, the dudes that didn't sell the top, they didn't get the mansion. You could go, look, you're wrecked. But even in that case, let's take an example. Let's take EOS. EOS is not even a blockchain, okay? They vote on whether you get to keep your money or not, literally, as a feature. Not as an accident, not as a side effect, as a feature of their currency. They vote on who gets to keep their money or not, and they've already handed money out by default judgment. Oh, you don't want to come defend yourself? They give your money to somebody else. They also pride themselves on high throughput. Blockchains don't have any adoption. Nobody's blocks are full. Nobody needs the throughput. So it's a project where they paid the developer 100% upfront through an ICO, the Block One company. They made $4 billion.
Yeah.
Paid them 100% upfront, and then gave them a cut of the coins after to build something that has higher throughput that no one needs, that votes on whether they'll steal your money or not. That project, in the longest bear market that crypto's ever had, is still a higher price than its ICO price, and went up 40x and 80x over less than a year. So tell me about your bullshit narrative that things need to do good stuff for the world and all this other bullshit. Like, oh, do they? Do they really now? Right? No,
The need is still there. It's just not the reality.
No, it's because people don't realize that speculative value is value, right?
Okay.
It's like Las Vegas exists, right? What need is Las Vegas serving?
Entertainment.
Wreck people, take their money. Oh yeah, but they enjoy that. So
Yeah.
if you don't understand that people want to speculate, and you don't understand that they're going to pay heavily to do that, you don't deserve to get rich as a speculator, because you think you understand economics better than the market does, and you think only good projects should pump, which is why you didn't get in any of the 100Xs in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
You just held your good honest coin that maybe did a 10X or a 15X. All right, well, if you want 10X less gains, fuck you. Like, I'm not happy with that. I want to make more money than the EOS guys did. So I build a better project than they did that serves a better purpose. I don't want a 40X. I want a 400X, right? I am tired of seeing people make really, really huge money on really, really stupid ideas. So I want to make really, really huger money on a better idea. If you don't want to be on board with that, fuck you. Buy your maybe 2X coin. Like,
Right.
Have
And
fun
that was
with
one
that.
of the points I made in my videos is like, everyone who was having a hissy fit about this and that, the other, I'm like, look, it's voluntary. No one's
I'm giving you the
forcing
coin
to
for free.
participate.
If you don't like free
That's what I mean.
coins, like
you don't have to participate.
just go away. Like, don't take the free
You-
coin. That's better.
And then you've got absolutely no risk, nothing to lose, nothing. Just ignore it if you must.
Well, I prefer it because I don't want people to claim and then dump on me later after I do all this hard work to make it pump to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
If I make this thing pump to the moon, I want the minimum freeloaders sucking off of my effort. So this thing's working now because I'm making it work.
Mm-hmm.
I do all the marketing. I write all the game theory. I'm all the interviews. Like, this thing is me basically today. One day some other people will add more value, and this thing will have a value beyond me. I'm happy to see that. As it stands today, if you get this free token and you hold it, and then you benefit from my work that I've done, I'd prefer you not dump on me. So we got this timer that makes it so that every week you wait, you lose 2% of your stack. So if Roger, I can't find his coins, or I'd remove them, but since I can't find them, I guess he gets to claim. I hope he claims as late as possible and optimally never, so that his coins are given to people that already do believe in the project, that already did claim early. And then when he goes to claim, oh man, look how well that project's doing. I'm going to go claim my free coins. And he goes to claim his free coins, and he's got like 2% of his stack left because he waited so long. I would love for that to happen, right? Because I don't need him leeching off of my hard work or the hard work of all the other believers that bought in, right? So this getting rid of freeloaders, if you want to claim and dump, please do. Please claim and dump, because I don't want you dumping on me later. Dump on me now, right? Dump right now, right day one, when the coin's worth the least it should be worth. Great, get out of here, right? And then as more people hear about it, right? Because how could less people hear about it? You start from nothing, and then more people hear about you, and it only goes up, unless people are forgetful, right? So the minimum number of people that will ever have heard about HEX is today. And future forward, it only goes up, right? So, like, if you don't like this project, don't claim it. Then I don't have to worry about you dumping on me. If you do like this project, claim it and stake, and then you'll get all the coins from the people that didn't believe, and then they can't dump on us, right? The idea is to get this price high. We get the price high by locking up our coins and buying and not selling. That's how it works.
I also thought people were asking me in the comments, hey Chris, how's it going to get listed on exchanges? And my answer to that is they're going to have to list it. Like, they're almost going to have no choice, because if enough people claim, They're gonna have the market to deal with, right?
Right. Well, first, IDEX, which is 50 something plus % of the distributed exchange volume on Ethereum, already reached out to us and said they wanted to list it. Another exchange lists anything without anyone having to do anything. So any Ethereum contract that you want to put the ABI code in there and like give the contract address is tradable on their exchange. And that exchange is called Ether Delta. And then I've got personal connections with at least one exchange that's large, who once I'm out of audit, or once I'm in audit, I start cold calling everybody. And I get opinion letters, and then we say, hey, list us. Here's our opinion letter. Let's go, right? So some exchanges want an opinion letter that you're not a security. So the point is, I can't guarantee you that things will be listed. In the bear market, things are being listed all the time because the exchanges want more volume to make money, because their volume has died.
They'll be more receptive to you right now if you can get volume.
Yeah. So I don't see a world where this doesn't get listed.
No,
because
totally.
Ether Delta lists anything if you just put your code in there. IDEX already reached out and said they wanted to list it, and then this is a trustless, fairly distributed, free airdrop token that, like, we're able to let 3 addresses claim now, and there are some exchanges which have cold wallets in a 3 address format that can claim. Binance is one, Bittrex is another. If Binance and Bittrex claim the coins in the possession of their cold wallets, they would be able to give free money to all their users. Right. And that would endear their users to them, and it would get more trade volume on their exchange because there'd be volume on a new pair that wasn't there before. So when we're in audit, I'm going to call them and I'm going to ask them, hey, do you want to give some free money to your clients and make some money on volume? Cool. Well, then you should list this thing and claim it. You're still going to get this whale penalty, but you're going to be giving them money they wouldn't have otherwise got. Unless they decide to split up their, they could split up their exchange wallet into less than thousands. That would be funny. If they split up their exchange cold wallet into less than thousands just to get a better rate on HEX, that would be baller. I'd be like, damn, you guys are true players. Like, yep. If I had the exchange, that's what I would do. Like, what's the advantage of the exchange of keeping all their coins in a single wallet? There isn't any.
Right.
So just like, you've only got like 100,000 coins anyway. So now you've got 100 wallets. So, okay, now you got 100 wallets, but you just like quadrupled the amount of money that you can give your users for free.
I was going to say, they want to outcompete their competitors, don't they? By endearing their users more.
Well, yeah, if you knew that you'd get this airdrop from an exchange at a rate 4 times higher, you'd leave your Bitcoin on that exchange.
Totally.
So, it is a competitive advantage. I just want to be in audit before I start making those calls. Because right now, before you're in audit, you hit delays. You're like, all right, we're going to add 3 addresses. Delay. Okay, we're going to go to daily from weekly. Delay. But once you're in audit, there ain't no more delays. The code's locked, right? So then the only possible delay is you come out of audit and you need to fix something. But we put so much work into testing this that I don't think we'll have to fix anything. So.
Is the audit happening now?
No, we're not in it yet. We're running the code against the daily sampling frequency. It's working fine. And then after that, we're relatively out of things to test. Like we can't make the contract fail. Like we've tried. So then it's time to let someone else try, right? And that's your external audit. So we're very, very close. I would be willing to delay it a little bit if I could get referral program for staking. Because right now our referral program just works for, actually I don't think I even have to do that. I think we can do referral program for staking in another contract outside this contract. I think I can do multi-tier private labeled staking outside of our contract by just calling our contract. I think I can do that and then not have to delay getting to market. So I don't think I'm going to have to delay to do the type of referral program I want for staking. So I think we can hit market with what we've got, and then maybe figure out tier 2 solution for a referral program for staking where people can set their own rates. Because right now the currency inflates to pay referrers, but it would be nice if people could get paid to refer people to stake, and then they would have to give people a slightly worse deal, just like a normal retailer of a normal product. They don't give it to you at their wholesale cost. They mark it up a bit. And then I would allow them to parse variable referral rates so that they could compete against each other.
Okay, so they take a profit
value.
margin out of the...
Right. So then, hey, look, we got better modeling to predict what the best staking behavior is, or hey, we got this cooler chat room, or whatever, right? Oh, we got access to people that wouldn't have otherwise heard of it. Fine, you deserve paid, right? That's excellent. You deserve to get paid for that. If they wouldn't have heard from it from me, and they would have heard from it from you, you deserve money, right? So I think I can do those things outside of our core contract because I'm leaving the core contract open to be called from other contracts so that people can build this stuff. So even if I didn't build it, someone else could build it. It would also be nice to have a margin product because, you think that less people are going to stake and you want to like sacrifice some coins on that bet. All right, well, you can, stake more coins than you really had, but if the market moves against you, you lose quicker, right? So a margin product on top of HEX and a private label multi-tier referral program on top of HEX would be the two next things I would look at after, getting listed big places and doing all my marketing push stuff. Because right now I only do interviews with people that have asked me to do an interview or someone else set us up. I've only asked 2 people ever to do an interview. One was a rocket scientist and one was a pretty girl. That's it. Everyone else has asked me for the most part.
Oh, I saw the rocket scientist interview.
Smart dude.
Oh, and I also saw the lady in the bikini as well video.
I thought it was a good video. A lot of other people talk shit, and I won't have another girl in a bikini on, but I thought the content was very good. She has unique
at least you're
questions.
willing to experiment with different content. That's
You gotta
why
try. You gotta try. I figured my audience is all dudes. Maybe they like this stuff. They don't.
And
I'm like, all right.
you got to try it. I mean, I almost didn't invite you on. Not because I didn't want to talk to you. I definitely did want to talk to you, right? Because that was me. That was my desire. But again, back to earlier on when I said if I have an intention, I start moving in that direction, this wall of resistance comes up. And I knew, even when I put the YouTube event up, boom, like this, like meshing and, all this sort of stuff. And that my fear of that consequence almost deterred me from having you on in the first place.
You've got to embrace the hatred.
Yes.
Every single person that matters in this world is truly, genuinely hated by thousands, if not millions of people.
Right.
Steve Jobs didn't give his daughter any money, didn't give medical research any money, died when he could have had easy operation. A lot of people don't like that guy. Bill Gates, giant monopoly, embrace, extend, extinguish, killing competitors unfairly, right?
Antitrust, yeah.
Yep. A lot of people don't like that guy. Anyone that matters, people don't like. So now, how many people like Trump? One of the most hated people in the world, President of America, right? How many people like Alex Jones? One of the most hated people in the world.
Sure.
Everybody's talking about him. So you've got to be okay with a bunch of sad, ugly, poor, basement-dwelling retards disliking you. And then...
when you put it like that.
And then once they hate you long enough, they can FOMO the top on your coin and then sell the bottom and then be sad when they see it go up again. Those can be those guys, right? If you don't want to get into HEX when I give it to you for free, that's fine. You can buy the top, bro. Just wait. Wait till the FOMO grabs you, because it will, right? Like, you keep seeing the price move up. Okay. Now you want to play, right? So I see the hate for what it is, right? Like, people message like, Richard, you ain't changed. Like, somebody in this chat was like, Richard, you ain't changing anybody's lives. You're like, I get emailed at least twice a week with someone's life that I've genuinely changed for the better. At least twice a week. Sometimes maybe once a week, right? But lately more. I think it's because I opened up a chat room for my book, Sci-Vive, and released the second one, which I hadn't before, which is like how to fix the world. Politics and education and such. I literally get positive reinforcement from the things I do on a nearly daily basis. I am making a difference in the world, a positive difference, giving away knowledge for free, giving away books for free, giving away tokens for free, not having ads on my YouTube channel. You couldn't give me money if you tried. You don't know any of my bank account numbers. You don't know any of my Bitcoin addresses. You can't possibly send me money. So let me know how I'm scamming you. And I've been doing this for years. So if you're calling me a scammer, taking advantage and leeching the information and free products that I've given you, indeed it is you that is a scammer. It is you that gives nothing and takes everything. I'm the guy giving because my cup floweth over. You're the guy leeching, right? So eventually you become immune to it. You're like, oh, okay, I'm a scammer. I don't have any victims, but I'm like the world's best scammer. Which is funny because no one ever complains about the money I fucked them over for because they don't exist. But people don't care. They want to be hurtful, right? Because they're jealous. So if you want to be hurtful and jealous, watch everyone that likes me get rich and you can stay poor. Like, that's fine. I'm the guy that called the $20,000 Christmas months ahead of time. Who are you? I'm the guy who told you the multi-year bear market was coming. Who are you? I'm the guy that tells you CBOE canceled the contracts within minutes of possibly knowing, right? I have utility to the world. I work for free. I want to see your guys' spreadsheets on what you'd add to the world, right? You get
There's another one of those harsh doses of reality that's going to also be difficult to swallow.
Look, losers are going to lose. And I do the same shit. Like, if some guy's living it, like, I hated Dan Bilzerian for a while because he lives life better than I do. Girls, hotter. House, awesome. Lifestyle, awesome. Whoop my ass in a fight. Better shot than me. You name it, right? Looks better naked. What's not to hate? So if you want to be a player-hating piece of shit and hate people that are living life better than you, go hate Dan Bilzerian. He's way cooler than I am, right? So, and then eventually, like once you believe in yourself enough, you don't have to just hate other people by default. Like truthfully, I went a little heavier on people that hate me this show just because I thought I could do it eloquently. But in reality, I actually don't mind people that hate me. Like, there's people that hate me on Twitter all the time. I don't mind. It just spreads my brand and we banter, and I used to be like them in some ways, and I think eventually they'll come around. So, like, I'm almost thinking of having a giant unban session to give everyone a chance, because enough time has passed and they might have figured things out. Like, oh, this is trustless. It is free. Around, right? There, like where's the scam, right? You can't buy it. It's not for sale. It's just for free, right? So, and I've converted people. A lot of people come into the chat room and talk shit, and then I would just like make fun of them and crush them and then ban them. Give them their chance to like make their best arguments, and then be like, all right, you have anything else? You got it all out? Okay. You want to spew any vial before you go? Okay, now you're gone. But now I just convert them into fans because I've answered so many hateful arguments over the year that I have copy pastable answers to every single claim, and I just paste them. And then if they read them, they stop the hate, right? And it's like having that tool to handle every single objection with a rebuttal is awesome. And
that is awesome.
It's like being able to just copy paste those arguments instead of sucking hours of my life writing them over again has made it so that I'm happy to convert people instead of ban them. And I haven't had to ban anyone in chat for a very long time. And I have converted hard to convert people. So I was mean to everyone that, may have disliked me in chat just because every time I read chat, I'm like, oh, look at the vile. But, if they were in my chat room and if I were actually playing give and take with them, I probably wouldn't have been so hard on them because I could have converted them, because it's just one way and I'm not really trying to convert them one by one. I'm just more happy to like denigrate them or make them seem shitty or whatever.
What that vial, did it used to get to you and then didn't, or did it never get to you?
It's on a timer, right? So I can put up with the hate for about 16 hours.
Okay.
Maybe 12 hours, and then I start to get edgy. and I get
Got it.
I get cunty, I get mean. So after 12 to 16 hours of dealing with it, then I start getting short-tempered. Maybe it's because I get tired or whatever, or maybe it's just fun to fuck people up. I mean, they're both true, right? Like, if someone argues with me, they're gonna lose. So like, it's fun to just do that sometimes. Just make people look retarded, you know, as a sport. But I don't have to live there, you know. It's like, particularly, so I have to, as more people invest into something that I'm associated with, I have to back my fund down a little bit to be fair to their investments, I feel. So it's like, I might want to make a very off-color joke, but I need to tone that shit down, you know? So as the project becomes more successful,
Yeah, got you.
I will appear more corporate to a degree.
Yeah.
I'll curse less, and
Yep.
my jokes will be less off-color. There will still be an edge, but it'll just be less.
Mm-hmm. Totally get it. Totally get that. Yeah. Someone's like, what's the date of the snapshot?
Should be 7-8 weeks from now. So basically, I need to give everyone 2 weeks. I don't need to, but I prefer to give everyone 2 weeks heads up before the snapshot occurs to get their wallets in order. And it seems to be the amount of time that people give for warnings. Like if you're going to quit a job, put in your 2 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. So 2 weeks seems to be the right amount of time to warn something about an important event. So if we were already out of audit right now, it would be at least 2 weeks. We're not in audit. So how long does an audit take? Let's call it 3 weeks. So if we were in audit right now, that'd be 5 weeks. Okay, but what are the chances an auditor is instantly available, right? Probably not going to happen. So maybe it takes a couple days to find somebody that's qualified and wants to do the work immediately. Or maybe they're available immediately because it's the bear market. Who knows? We'll see, right? So I got 2 weeks to warn you about the snap. I got 3 weeks to have the external auditors do their thing. These are estimates. Now, this is assuming that we don't have to fix anything after the audit, right? Mm-hmm. So what if we have to fix something? It takes a week. Well, then that's 2 weeks plus a week plus 3 weeks. That's 6 weeks. If we were ready to go into audit right now, we're still in internal testing. So from the second we finish internal testing, it's, 6 to 8 weeks, right? So we're not there yet. I think 7 to 8 weeks is like a good estimate for when we could have a snapshot. Gotcha. If we don't have to fix anything when we get out of audit, if the auditor is available when I call, if it only takes them 3 weeks to do the audit, then we can have our snap in 7 to 8 weeks.
Good. I just want to ask a question which I'd like you to answer. Is Curious getting paid for this interview?
No. I've never paid anyone for an interview in my life. How many subscribers do you have, bro?
53,000.
No, you don't. On what? You've got YouTube. You've got 53,000 subs on YouTube?
Yes.
Jeez, you're kicking my ass. I got like 38,000. Fuck.
I was going to ask you that.
I thought you had like 900 subs on YouTube.
No. I contacted you in Telegram, and you said, I said I'd love to have you on the show, and you said URL ? And then I gave you the link, and I thought you checked me out like, oh, I'm going to make sure this guy has more than like 5 subscribers before I say yes.
No, I thought you had like 900 subs, and I just like the review you did, so I'm like, all right, I'll do one with him. He seems smart. Well, good. Hey, I might actually get some traffic out of this. Yay.
That's why I thought I'd qualified. Well, what we've got right now, 52,740, because I'm in decline mode right now.
Neat. Fucking great, dude. Good on you, mate.
So I used to have more, but I'm net negative subscribers
every
the last
day.
30 days. It's where we're at right now.
I should have looked you up on Social Blade. Yeah, I don't know how I fucked that up. I thought you had like no subs. Interesting. Well, good. That's even better, man. So more people will be exposed to the conversation. That's cool. Because in theory, I should be punching up. Like I should be trying to talk to people with larger audiences.
Totally.
So
totally should. Well, our like to dislike ratio for this video has gone up since it started. So
well, it should be like if it's really shitty, it should be like plus 20% and over, and if it's normal, it should be 10%.
Right. Well, I've got vidIQ, which gives it as a percentage. So we're at 75% likes to dislikes.
Yeah, that's in the range for like high dislikes, but that's fine. Like, I don't care about any of you people, just so that you know, okay? None of you teaches me anything at all. None of you gives me any money at all. None of you has sexual intercourse with me at all.
Gosh.
None of you tells me jokes I like. You're not getting me laid, paid, or giggles. You have very little value to me, right? Some small portion of you whose lives I'm able to help makes me feel good about myself, right? The rest of you that are just hateful and want to pretend you didn't learn anything useful, what are you doing for me? Like, you exist, you don't exist, what I notice, right? So, and by the way, for you guys that click dislike on YouTube, YouTube counts that as engagement and moves the video up just as well. So if you actually want to fuck me, don't click like or dislike. But you weren't smart enough to know that. Now you are.
So this is one of the things I don't use the word jealousy. I draw a distinction between jealousy and envy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And jealousy to me is the begrudging of what you have. Envy is recognizing what you have and be like, oh, I'd like that too, right?
Mm.
So I have
never drew
envy
that distinction. I had to think about it.
So I have envy for you, right? So I admire what you have, don't begrudge you it, but would like it also. And what
Right.
that is, for me, you totally are able to speak your mind because of your financial situation. Like, you don't care, like dislikes, you don't even monetize your videos, you don't care if anyone views them, you just say what the hell you want to say. And if no one people don't like it, so what, right? In my case,
Well,
because this is my business, I'm
yeah.
almost like in the situation where I recognize YouTube doesn't reward truth, it rewards people liking what you say.
No, not even. It rewards hours on site. So if people hate you when they watch, you're rewarded just as well as if they like you when they watch. So high dislike videos do as well or better as high liked videos.
That's not my understanding. I thought the higher the more dislikes to likes.
No,
They put
you'll
you
do
in
better
like
with more
box.
dislikes. In general, the more dislikes, the better you'll do, because they just care that you watch ads. That's all they care about. So if you, what they care about is, are you watching for over 10 minutes, and what's your bounce rate and what's your retention rate? So if we have a contentious argument, people are going to be more interested to watch. That's the reason every newspaper, if it bleeds, it leads. It's the reason that we think the world's worse, even though it's better, is because all that matters is how long people look at the ads. So Donald Trump's president, not because more people liked him, right? He was massively hated, so he got massively popular, so everyone talked about him. So now he's president, right?
Wait a minute. There's a step missing there. Run that again.
Sure. So if Donald Trump came out and was nice to everyone at the debates, he wouldn't have won the nomination. He was a complete cocksucker at the debates to a degree that he was the only thing anyone could talk about because of how gross he was. And it works, because if your option is to be liked and forgotten about, or disliked and talked about every day, you're going to reach more people being disliked.
You get more mind share, as I would call it.
Exactly. It's hours of engagement, right? So if Bitcoin HEX if you hate Bitcoin HEX and you think it's a scam and you want to show everyone what a scam it is, so you spend hours staring at it and figuring it out, some portion of those people that do that is going to realize it's not a scam.
Right.
So this proof through complexity, appeal to complexity, and even appeal to controversy is extremely effective. So for instance, this little tirade that I just had saying how much I don't give a fuck about people, these leeches, if that went viral for someone going, look at what a piece of shit Richard Hart is, and it went viral on our cryptocurrency, I would go front page on our cryptocurrency, which I've already done through hatred. I can't buy a first page. I can't purchase a organic high ranking listing on our cryptocurrency. But because these people hate me so much, they gave it to me for free. Which is funny, because I told them how to actually hurt things that you think are scams. And it's by not talking about them. But these fuckers don't take advice very well. So they gotta tell everyone how stupid I am and how bad my project is. So I just get free traffic, and the people that have brains, they believe in it because it's a great project.
Totally.
So the more people hate it, the better it does. Now, that doesn't always work. Once you have scaled up high enough, you can actually be hurt from bad press. But you got to be pretty fucking high up there. If you still have tapped very little of your potential market cap and market share and mind share, then hatred is good.
The controversy still helps.
Yeah, because is it better that someone never hear my message or that they hear my message with the overtone of, look how shitty he is? It's better that they hear it with the overtone, because some portion of those people won't fall for that, and they'll understand the goodness.
They'll watch a video and go, actually, this guy's making some sense.
Yeah. So if people want to hate the project, hate it as loudly as you want. Tell everyone how shitty I am and how shitty my project is. Please do. Right? And you'll really hate us when we're, up in the market cap, right? Every time we move up, you're going to hate even more. Keep that hate up, buddy. I used to hate Ethereum. Let me tell you how my hatred worked out. Pumped higher and faster than Bitcoin did. Had a higher market cap than Bitcoin on a, year 2050 supply. Probably much earlier than 2050, but the market cap of Ethereum did actually pass Bitcoin's if you looked at supply in the future instead of just current circulating supply. So my hatred didn't work, right? So by me trying to convince people not to get scammed, I think a lot of people got scammed.
Right. No.
So I learned to use a code word so that only people that were already being scammed would know what I was talking about, but people that weren't being scammed wouldn't know what to type to start getting scammed. So I invented a way to use a diode to one-way function it so that I could save people that needed saving, but not fuck people that weren't fucked yet. It's too advanced, I think, for my shit talker trolls to adopt. They're just going to keep doing what they're good at. They make funny memes. I tweet their memes. Every time someone makes a terrible photo of me looking like a fat, comic book character and whatever, I tweet that shit. I love it, right? So if you make a good meme of me looking like a scammer, I will tweet it because it's funny. BitConnect, fucking, you name it. I think it's great. You want to hate me for fun? Do it, baby. Please do. Because those are good memes, high quality memes. Low quality, middle tier trolling is not actually funny, but high quality trolling is pretty fucking funny.
Where I was going to go with that is that goes back to, I think, energy flows where attention goes.
Yep.
So that's
Get
how
more what you focus on.
works. Right. So even by obsessing about how much you hate Bitcoin Hex and then spamming the Reddits, that's actually helping raise awareness.
Yep. I love it.
By bringing more conscious attention into the system, and it feeds on itself in a positive upward virtuous cycle, right?
It's fun for them too. If you're hateful and you want to hate on people, it is fun to do. I enjoy doing it. Everyone enjoys doing it. I'm an easy target. So fucking come get it. Fuck me up, right? Alex Jones is already done. Everyone's made the maximum fun of that dude. Not everyone's had their round to fuck me up yet, so.
Where does that leave Alex Jones though?
He'll just oscillate. He'll come in and out.
Okay.
He'll get less he'll be less interesting for a while, and then he'll find some new way to be relevant. Yeah.
Well, he's been censored off the face of the planet almost.
Well, I mean, he finds controversy, So if that's your job, if people are interested in controversy and you're constantly searching it out, then you'll be on people's minds more often.
Yep.
Who do you think is more relevant in media right now? Alex Jones or Bill Gates? And who do you think is making a bigger difference in the world? Human beings don't give a fuck who's doing a good job. They give a fuck who's doing a bad job. People don't give a fuck about good news. They care about bad news. It's just how it is. So.
Someone's complaining in the chat that they've had nothing of value so far. They want to hear about the HEX project.
I could use some NLP to put a mean image in his head, but it wouldn't be fair to everyone else listening.
Okay.
That's what I would have, if we were in person, I would have put very unsettling images in his mind. Maybe you should ask yourself, what all these other idiots think they learned, so that you can just keep a record of how stupid they were. And then by accident, you'll probably learn what they did through your desire to hate. So you may want to not learn, but if learning just to point out how stupid everyone else was is what you need, you could do that, you know. Teach them how stupid they were for thinking they learned something but really didn't, by knowing what they thought they learned.
Here's another instance of like, once you've bought into a perception, you won't let it go. Someone's like, so Richard knew how many subs Chris had. We're supposed to believe Richard just randomly did a 2-hour interview with a nobody.
I've done lots of 2-hour interviews with nobodies. I have a track record of doing this because I just do interviews with people that reach out to me. And if they seem like it'll be fun or smart, I'll do it, you know? I'm trying to do it less because I should be writing the white paper. But here I am. This is easier, so.
Interesting. That's very honest. This is easier.
Yeah, it is, you know.
It's more fun, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, this was a lot more fun than I thought it'd be because this conversation was not like other ones. You know, we did a good hour up front with just personal development stuff at a higher level than I've done with other people. I don't think anyone else that I've spoken to on stream has been as far down the personal development path as you are.
Well, that was...
Yeah, like, go ahead.
I set that as an intention.
It's neat. It's neat.
Which
Great
was
work.
when I speak to Richard Hart, he's going to leave that interview thinking, like, suppose, well, I mean, my intention was obviously very clear because I'm going to articulate it. I can articulate it right now. But my intention was to make an impression on you.
Yeah, it's good. Good impression. You just got to change out of sportswear. I mean, I'm wearing sportswear because
it's super dry. This is a fancy dress jumper.
Yeah, it's like
It's not sportswear.
Japanese brand from the UK.
It is.
It's an interesting.
It is.
I got some super dry stuff. I won't say a lot, but maybe like 8 pairs of shorts and 3 jumpers, and it's an alright brand. It's a little overpriced, but it's alright.
It fits me, and I'm not. I mean, who did I meet the other day? Someone who'd never met me in person before. We'd only had a virtual relationship, and I'm 5'3", right? And I'm like a skinny rake. So when people go, whoa, right?
I thought you'd be taller.
I'm like Master Yoda. When you meet, you know, you meet me and you go, oh my God. You know,
That's funny.
and people are usually taller than I expect them to be, and then I'm usually shorter because I'm just like, I'm like Bruce Lee, like his little guy.
Hey, Bruce Lee was a pretty cool dude.
Anyway,
So
yeah.
So I guess we should, like, I don't know. We did 3 hours. Let's shill our shilling stuff, and then
Do it.
you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
What we're shilling links?
Well, yeah. Like, what do you want people to do? How can they benefit you if they choose to?
Absolutely. If people should click my Bitcoin Hex referral link down below,
Yep.
and
Alright.
also as we get closer to the launch, I'm going to be doing exhaustive step-by-step tutorials on how to claim your coins, which is how I'm going to get paid for that.
Smart.
I'm also thinking about, for larger Bitcoin holders, doing one-to-one Skype consultations and hand-holding them through the process if they click my referral link.
Smart.
So it's a free service, but you got to be above a certain amount of Bitcoin holdings, and also you got to click my referral link at the beginning of the consultation, and then I'll walk you through it. So it's free, but
Yep.
I'm getting 20% bonus on that. So
Smart.
keep your eye out for that.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good idea. So on my end, free books, Scivive and How to Fix the World. Go to t.me/Scivive, SCIVIVE, like survive through science.
Mm-hmm.
Now you see I had to spell that. I don't have to do that for HEX. If you want to learn about HEX, go to t.me/HEX. If you want to see my price predictions, I give free price predictions, t.me/Richard's Calls. If you want to trade, like margin trading, I got a margin trading channel with 2,000 people in it. t.me/Strape Charts. If you like general crypto chat, you want to talk about shit coins and all these crypto things that aren't, specific to one coin, t.me/Strape, like strawberry grape.
Mm-hmm.
Hate having to spell that. Thought it was a good brand, thought it was like Skype. It turns out Strape is not as good as Skype for some reason. That's 6,000 members there, like 5,800, something like that. Then we've got Twitter, 50,700 people.
Mm-hmm.
That's Richard Hart Win. Got YouTube, about 38,000 people. That's youtube.com/Richard Hart. And the website's hex.win. We're forwarding it over to Bitcoin Hex, which is the old brand name, and we're building out the site to be just native hex.win. We also got hex.dev, but I think hex.win's cooler. What else? So free book. If you want to do margin trading and you don't want to go to the Telegram chats, you can use my affiliate link and save 10% on fees on the best exchange there is that does margin trading, which is richardhart.win. I just forwarded the URL. I think that's it. Show links, Hex, free books, free knowledge. Oh, if you want to support charity, support sens.org, SENS. They take crypto and they try and build stuff that might save your life. I think that's it.
Super cool, man.
I appreciate you having me. It was a really good conversation. I'm a little bit tired. I could have been sharper. I'm slurring a tiny bit, which is like not the best presentation style. If you're so tired that you're like mispronouncing words. It was a good interview. I like interviews that are longer. Like, I think 3 hours is a good one. Sweet. I hope people get value out of it. Except for you guys that hate me. Fuck you guys. I hope you get no value at all. As a matter of fact, I hope you stub your toe on the way to the bathroom and it hurts like hell.
It made me laugh at the end of the stream. I've got to do an outro. No, I don't need to do an outro. We can just bail.
All right. I'm bailing on my end. Hey, man. It was great talking to you, bro. Ciao.